Check 1, 2, check. Call this meeting to order. If you would, stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation with Ted Martin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Please join me in prayer. Most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for another beautiful day in the Ozarks as we enter the fall season. Father, we invite you into these chambers tonight as we take this agenda and work through it as a body, a governing body, and as citizens that have input. Father, we pray that tonight everything that we do, everything we say will be honoring and glorifying to you. Father, thanks for the 200 plus employees, 250 plus employees that work here, that work and serve our citizens and our visitors, and continue to pray for safety for them as well. Father, we love you and praise you in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Denham. Here. Skanes.
Here.
Cooper.
Here.
Milton.
Here.
Fenton.
Here.
Whitus.
Here.
C.
Here.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. This is the public comment section of the Board of Aldermen. At this time, the board will hear citizens who have signed up in the order they were listed. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
Yes, Your Honor. Before we get started, I just want to say that if there's an item on the actual agenda tonight, you do not have to speak during public comment. That's your option. So if anybody does not want to speak and wants to wait till the item comes on their regular agenda, just let me know. But otherwise, I'll be calling your name. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our first speaker is Doug Clark, 121 St. Andrews Street, Branson, active military not going to vaccinate.
I brought a copy of an affidavit here of a flight surgeon that's involved in a lawsuit to protect these people that, there's about 500,000 right now refusing the vaccine, and they're due to be disciplined in the next 30 to 60 days. And I don't think we can afford, security-wise, to have half of our pilots in the Air Force and the helicopter pilots to be drummed out of the military after they've served through the first parts of this COVID thing, you know. It's just like the nurses that have served without being vaccinated from the very beginning. So now after it's gone on for a year and a half, they're not capable of performing the duties they did under a lot more duress than they're having right now. In addition to the military, there's lots of other lawsuits that are out there right now all over the country, primarily the health directors, governors, you name it, all clear down to the local health directors over issues with the way that this has been rolled out and the reasons being. And if you go on the internet, if you want to look up the Rents law firm, you go into that website, and he's one of the main ones that is attacking all this stuff that's going on here. Not the only one, but all of the evidence is out there that this was a basically, there's a lot of violations of federal law on interstate commerce, collusion and trading on the stock market, picking vaccines. You're the one that picks the vaccine, and you're the one that owns the patent and the distribution rights on it and so forth. That's our friendly Mr. Fauci. The heat's starting to crank up on him. They had the NIH director resign last year, who's the one that issues a lot of the policy comes out of that particular office. But in any case, you know, right now there are 5 countries in Europe that have stopped the Moderna vaccine and some other of the other vaccines for basically heart problems and cardiomyelitis, and it's attacks the heart itself and the sac around the heart. And they're having, most of them now are in children from 12 to 18, and some of them are having heart attacks the day they get the shot. Sometimes it takes several days to a couple of weeks before all this stuff occurs. And if you have a healthy person that's in that age bracket, otherwise they would probably, if they weren't living with the conditions we're in now with the way this has been marketed, you wouldn't have, 99% of those kids would not even be affected by it because of their health. So that's one of the 2 things here. Now, Iceland is the 5th one that's stopped doing the Moderna vaccine. There's 4 other ones, Denmark, so forth, and they give the reasons why. This stuff is not too hard to dredge up on the internet, and you can go in and look it up for yourself if you care to. I mentioned there's 57 top scientists, cardiologists have been warning about this stuff for over a year and a half now before the whole thing got rolling about what the outcome of these vaccines are going to be, because they actually change the method that your body fights a virus. I mean, and I would go to I would go to the Moderna website and look at what they say that this is, and then go to some of these doctors that are the ones that don't come to the top on the search engine, and go down and look and see who's saying some negative things. And what you find out, those people are the ones that are telling you the truth most of the time. So that's primarily most thing. But my thing here in Branson, we've always honored our military above all and else. You know, those people, you know, have been with us all the time. I'm a former military person, and I was a pro-vaccine everything until about the late 80s, early 90s, until I started reading some things that I wasn't really happy about. And then after I got some shots when I was in the military in the 60s, I got really sick for about a week over a tetanus shot that I had to get, because when you leave the country, even if you haven't got the full array of shots, you get them all again the second time. So we have a thing here. If we honor our military in Branson, I mean, it doesn't matter whether they're anti-vaxxers or not. And I think that if they can put up with all
30
the stuff,
seconds.
all the stuff that they've been doing for the last year and a half, supporting some of the stuff going on, transporting all this stuff, and all of a sudden they're not worthy of service, it's ridiculous. The other thing I'd like to say, one of the reasons I came to Branson at first was the Ozark Mountain Christmas. It was just a sentimental thing that was really poignant, and one of the main reasons I moved down here is because the atmosphere in Branson was always to honor the season and above crops.
Time.
So, I mean, if we don't do that and we switch it over to a Yule tree, which if you look that up a little bit, you'll find out a Yule tree, it's kind of got a little shaky standing in itself. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Doug.
Our next speaker is Ann Mcdowell, 6698 State Highway 76, Walnut Shade, Missouri. She's speaking on Christmas.
Good evening, Mayor Milton and Councilman. I am Ann Mcdowell. My husband and I own commercial property in the city limits of Branson, but we currently reside in Walnut Shade. I've been involved in the tourism industry in this area for 35 years, ever since I started to work as a sales manager at Silver Dollar City in 1986. I'm here tonight to talk about Christmas on behalf of the Branson Christmas Coalition, a nonprofit organization with a mission to grow and enhance the Ozark Mountain Christmas season. I've been that organization's executive director since it formed in 2015. Our nonprofit is supported with cash donations from more than 30 businesses and organizations who share a desire to make the Christmas season bigger and brighter for all. Our members include both electric companies, 5 hotels, 4 banks, 4 live shows, 6 attractions, and a variety of other businesses, large and small. I see that Lisa's given you my handout, and you'll see at the bottom right corner of that first page that is our membership list and has been pretty consistent since we began in 2015. Our board of directors meets every month year-round to develop and implement initiatives that will grow visitation during November and December. In 2016, we began the effort to make our area famous for Christmas trees. It is our belief that this addition to Ozark Mountain Christmas appeals to both repeat and first-time visitors, young and old, families, adult couples, the whole gamut, giving them yet another wonderful reason to visit our destination for Christmas. We chose Christmas trees, I'm not even sure what a Yule tree is, because like Branson, they are naturally beautiful, can be very traditional or creative, and are central to countless family traditions and wonderful memories, just like Branson. In addition, Christmas trees can be displayed by everyone and anyone who wants to participate in this new, unique, specific, and appealing addition to Ozark Mountain Christmas. It's taken a few years, but in 2020, we documented 60, that's 60, landmark Christmas tree displays throughout Ozark Mountain Country. These displays feature Christmas trees that are 20 feet tall or bigger, have 10 or more trees in one display, or a single display that is completely unique and one of a kind. That second handout you have that's multi-paged is the 2020 list of landmark Christmas trees. So even last year, in the pandemic, we had 60 trees put up by businesses and organizations throughout the area. 3 years of consumer research from 2017 to 2019 validates our success. 49%, nearly half of the visitors who were surveyed, said Christmas tree promise was very or extremely important in their decision to visit Branson. 90% enjoyed a Christmas tree display during their visit to Branson, and 82% agreed that Branson delivered on the promise of being America's Christmas tree city. Based on that response and that research, we can estimate $20 million of economic impact annually because of the Branson America's Christmas Tree City campaign. So tonight, I just wanted to share this context for your upcoming discussions regarding Christmas. Since the adoration scene was first erected on Mount Branson in 1949, Branson area business leaders have been actively working to make the Christmas season meaningful and beautiful celebration for our city. I'm proud to be associated with another group of community-minded, action-oriented business leaders who continue that tradition today for the good of everyone in this region. The Branson Christmas Coalition has begun discussion of what the next Christmas season enhancement might be, and we welcome your input and suggestions. We believe that together, Branson can continue to be an example for the whole country of Christmas done right. And that's one of the reasons that this year's second annual community Christmas tree that we sponsor is named Be the Light. You are all invited to the tree lighting on November 4th at 5:30 right in front of the Branson Ferris wheel. We have established Branson as America's Christmas tree city during Ozark Mountain Christmas. Let's unite for the good of our city and our region
30
to
seconds.
grow and enhance the most wonderful time of the year together. I think working together has always been part of Branson's secret sauce, and it's a great recipe for future success as well. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Ann.
Our next speaker is Jason Outman, 4100 Gretna Road, Branson, speaking on Christmas in Branson.
Mayor, Board, thank you for having me again tonight. I apologize, tonight was supposed to be my third quarter update on what is happening at the Chamber CVB, but I didn't have my slides done in time, so hopefully I'll be able to get there in November. Wanted to do a couple quick fact finding. First, I want to make a quick comment on ticket resellers and the CVB website, explorebranson.com. Just so you all know, this is a state level issue. This is not a CVB issue. The advertisements that are on our website are not controlled by the CVB. The revenue from the ads on our website goes directly to the TCED, does not go to the CVB. We do not benefit from that advertisement. And each show is given a free listing on our website that allows them to share their information as well as the website directly to their personal box office. So just wanted to clear that up real quick. In terms of Ozark Mountain Christmas, you know, once again, this is not a Branson CVB related issue. We take pride in the fact that we represent both Ozark Mountain Christmas as well as America's Christmas Tree City. In fact, if you look at our analytics, what people search the most is actually Christmas in Branson or Branson Christmas. They're not actually searching either one of those taglines. It's the generic Christmas in Branson or Branson and Christmas. When you go to our website and you actually go to our Christmas landing page, what you'll find on the very first part of our page is Ozark Mountain Christmas with wording that says there is nothing like an Ozark Mountain Christmas in Branson. When you visit America's Christmas Tree City during the holiday season, it's an unforgettable experience. Directly beneath that opening phrase, you will find the very first hyperlink is to the shows, to the Christmas shows that take place in Branson. Our website was redone the end of 2020. I don't remember the exact month, but it was redone at the end of 2020. So any slides that have been pulled before the end of 2020 are irrelevant and do not show what our current website looks like. I promise you that we are representing both Ozark Mountain Christmas as well as America's Christmas Tree City. You'll see in the handout that Madam Clerk provided you tonight, it is our 2021 vacation guide, which was printed in December of 2020, and you'll see 3 references in there to Ozark Mountain Christmas. You'll see on the index page, the page that actually will show you where Ozark Mountain Christmas is, and then you'll see 2 full-page spreads that reference Ozark Mountain Christmas as well as America's Christmas Tree City. In 2019, the Branson CVB, along with other businesses, produced a Branson Christmas music TV show that was viewed in over 93 local markets, plus RFD, WGNA, network cable, generating almost 10 million impressions. In Christmas, we understand that Christmas is a big time in Branson. I think it's a little unfair that we have been targeted for saying that we have taken Christmas out of Branson when indirectly we have not. In fact, I think our tax collections and our visitor numbers show that Branson has continued to grow year over year during the Christmas season. And this is because we do represent both America's Christmas Tree City as well as Ozark Mountain Christmas. But I promise you, the number one thing that our visitors are Googling is Christmas in Branson or Branson Christmas, and we're making sure that they know both taglines. So we're excited about the upcoming season. As you know, our year is continuing to do great. In fact, I think the most recent city tax numbers show we're still up 33% over 2019. The good thing is, and I believe I'd have to rely on the city for this, but the good thing is I believe that people are paying their tourism tax. Because I do know in 2019, I have an email from the city that says there were 260 businesses that hadn't paid their tourism tax in 2019. So that could have been part of the reason why the tourism tax numbers were down in 2019. I can't 100% verify that. I can just go off the email I have from the city. Again, we're excited about the season. We're doing all we can. We are a member of the Branson Christmas Coalition because we believe that Branson is great. In fact, when I started here in January, I think like 1 week later, I was in a Branson Christmas Coalition meeting. So we plan Christmas every month, year-round, because we know how much of a big deal it is for this city. So again, I think both taglines could live together. We are known as Ozark Mountain Christmas, but you also have to have campaigns to help promote a city, and I think America's Christmas Tree City inside of Ozark Mountain Christmas is a great way to help push both campaigns. So thank you for listening tonight.
Thank you, Jason.
Our next speaker is Sheila Thomas, 295 Bear Creek Estate Court, Walnut Shade. She's speaking on OMC.
Good evening. I sent you all an email last week, and I just wanted to summarize that for the record. As a member of the TCD Marketing Oversight Committee, or MOC, I wanted to respond to the email that we all received from Mr. Michael London regarding Ozark Mountain Christmas earlier last week. First, I wanted to give you some background on me for those of you that I don't know. I've served as the president and CEO of Table Rock Lake Chamber of Commerce in Kimberling City for 8 years. But I've lived in Branson most of my life, moving here in 1971. Our organization is the destination marketing organization for Stone County, like the CVB is the destination marketing organization for Taney County. We have won multiple awards for our marketing efforts, including an award for digital marketing from the Hospitality Sales Association International and the Governor's Award from the Missouri Division of Tourism. I'm the daughter of a longtime Branson community leader. His name was Ray Wilson. He is deceased, but he was very involved, and he and I both served on the committee that originally passed the tourism tax in Branson, along with some other community leaders. I just wanted to address the email because I believe there were some inaccuracies and some flawed premises in that email, so I'll just address a few here. Ozark Mountain Christmas was initiated in the late 1980s as a tool to extend the season. Peter Hershend was the driving force behind that initiative. And my dad was one of several community leaders who traveled to Wheeling, West Virginia in 1990 to view their Christmas lights display because Mr. Hershend believed that that was something that we could do here in Branson. And then came Branson Area Festival of Lights, and the city and businesses began to decorate for the season. Silver Dollar City then adopted Ozark Mountain Christmas, and I'm fairly certain that they created the logo that's in question and have ownership of it. You'll notice that it's trademarked. They no longer use that logo or that phrase. I would doubt that the city of Branson or any other entity could mandate its use. And if it's been abandoned by Silver Dollar City, I'm sure there's a valid reason for that, and it's probably research-based. In addition, some of the comments that were mentioned in the email from a district marketing council meeting, which has now become a marketing oversight committee, Mr. London mentioned the August 2019 meeting, and those comments were taken out of context. I was the chair of that meeting, serving in the absence of the regular chair, and I distinctly remember from that meeting that we were discussing, we wanted to make sure that Branson can deliver the promise of America's Christmas tree city. We weren't discussing that we just didn't like it and we didn't want to do it. We were saying we want to make sure that we can deliver on the promise if we're going to use that. There was only discussion at the meeting. There was no vote. There was no recommendation. And I, for one, would not bet against any marketing initiative created by Peter Herschend. He's had some success in that arena. Asking people in local Facebook groups to weigh in on the use of Ozark Mountain Christmas is not a valid research technique. Frankly, it doesn't matter. This is going to sound blunt. It does not matter what local people think about the term Ozark Mountain Christmas. It matters what our visitors think. They are the ones that we're trying to attract. So Jason mentioned the most searched phrase is Christmas in Branson or Branson Christmas. Visitors don't search for Ozark Mountain Christmas. In addition, the website was criticized in several of the videos that were sent to us. That website, as Jason mentioned, was redone in 2020. And Mr. London points out features that he doesn't agree with. But I would submit that the CVB is advised by one of the country's leading digital marketing companies.
30 seconds.
I have worked with them, and they're based on data, not on speculation. Using data from 2011, as in the American Bus Association list in 2013, is just frankly not valid. Research has to be timely to be effective. So the pandemic has affected us all, travel in particular, but Branson has remained strong. The Christmas season has remained strong. In fact, Alderman Cooper rightfully stated in his column this week in the Branson Tri-Lakes News, and I quote, Branson has experienced a record-setting tourism season. So I'm not sure why we're so hyper-focused on this season, but I would encourage you to let the CVB professionals who are trained in destination marketing and work with the country's leading destination marketing agencies do their work, and I will be proud to stand with them and also work in concert. And I would invite any of you in the room to also attend TCD meetings, Marketing Oversight Committee meetings, and participate in the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheila.
Our next speaker is Mary Kellogg Jocelyn, 10 Patterson Duck Club, Branson, speaking on Christmas.
Mr. Mayor, City, and all of our Branson community leaders. I'm Mary Kellogg, a resident of 10 Patterson Duck Club, and I am President, CEO, and co-owner of the Titanic Museum. My husband and I opened the Titanic Museum in 2006. My comments and suggestions tonight will be given with respect to each one in this room. Mr. Mayor, City Council members, and community-minded leaders in this room. I know everyone in this room has the best intentions to help promote Branson, and I applaud this. But I address you with some concerns, and I have seen the pernicious approach to the CVB group. Just 8 months ago, we hired the new Chamber and CVS president, Jason Ottman, to bring the ideas to the community. In the 8 months he's been here, he has worked with his team and the MOC to identify a new creative agency who's working on the new 2022 marketing campaign. I'm sure everyone knows the CVB doesn't work in a vacuum. There are over 10 different oversight committees that are reviewing and approving various marketing steps, from the financial review to the marketing plans to the creative direction. Each of these committees have input. CVB is the agency of record for our community, and they work with the top professionals in the industry, from digital marketing companies to research companies to production companies to PR experts. But it takes the leadership of the CVB agency to guide and direct all these entities before it all comes together. In the last month, the CVB introduced a co-op program specifically for the shows. I was excited to hear so many of the shows wanted to participate. Why do I bring this up? Because it's important the community understand that the CVB agency is working for all, and they understand their mission is to bring more visitors. Tonight, we're here to discuss the Branson Christmas theme line. A fact, 75 days until Christmas will be here. A fact, CVB continues to promote the umbrella campaign, Ozark Mountain Christmas, on explorebranson.com, our Branson Vacation Guide, digital marketing, and press outlets. However, they support the line, Branson, America's Christmas Tree City. At Titanic, we didn't just promote Titanic, we lay out the 5-year plan and what we will introduce each year. Each year we add to our umbrella title. Why? With marketing strategy, you have to add new elements for writers to write, for people to talk about, and to offer our repeat visitors new elements to their visits. This goes for the shows too. Each shows will add new elements. Why? So they can market to their current database, new visitors and repeat visitors. Shows understand they have to add new elements to their shows when creating new marketing opportunity. That's what the Branson America Christmas Tree City does for Ozark Mountain Christmas. Let me give you a perfect example, which isn't really a Christmas element, but it makes my point. When the Hughes Brothers show introduced The Greatest Show to the production, it was the talk of the town. They still kept their umbrella show title concept, but introduced something new for the show. Why? Writers could write about it, people in town could talk about it, and their visitor base had another reason to return. Some of this is in all the marketing strategy, and that is what we do in marketing. Some concepts go to the CVB. Same concepts go to the CVB, sorry. I've been in various meetings talking about Ozark Mountain Christmas, and I'd like to offer a suggestion to help solve this discussion. It's an idea you can act upon today. No one indicated you couldn't use Ozark Mountain Christmas statement or logo in your websites or in your digital marketing. After reviewing almost 50 show websites, I found 3 shows that mentioned Ozark Mountain Christmas and 2 had the logo. I invite the shows to take action today and add Ozark Mountain Christmas as an integral part of your websites. Visitors use their phone and tablets to navigate and to purchase tickets. Use Ozark Mountain Christmas in your SEO on your websites. This approach will complement what the CVB is already doing with their explorebranson.com press and digital marketing. Now that I've given an immediate solution, a bigger question. As a marketing person that worries about branding, a question for the group to think about for the future. When we say Ozark Mountain Christmas, doesn't that statement apply to Kansas and Arkansas? So if I'm a new visitor, the logo is missing the name of the city. In the 20 years I was at Disney, one word at Disney was used a lot, synergy. So I'm going to share a story with you, and it's going to take me longer than 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
Do I have permission? Yeah. Okay. In the spring of 2019, I met with Rachel Wood and Lynn Berry and the team to suggest we produce a television show called Branson Christmas Show Special. I advised them that I'd like to produce the special for the community. Next step was to find the TV outlet that could air the 1-hour special. My thought was for April and I to travel down to Dallas, Texas to meet with the owner of the Camelot Strategic Planning and Meeting Marketing Buying Service and the president of Nexstar, a station group with over 175 stations. The goal of the discussion was to ask him not only to clear the 1 hour, but to clear it in the key time periods, not just one run, but 2 runs. Cities like Kansas City, St. Louis, Chicago, Houston, Little Rock, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Wichita, to name a few, ran our special at least twice. Plus, we negotiated that we could also run our Christmas show special on RFD TV, not once, but twice. On top of all this, your CVB agency wanted 6 minutes within the show at no cost for other Branson commercials to air. The price to purchase these 6 minutes of spots would have cost us around $250,000. After a few trips, we closed the deal. Rachel and I left so excited that we were able to get everything we wanted for the Branson shows and community. The 44 minutes of programming content featured Branson shows was valued at over $1.5 million. This number does not include the RFD TV run. No one paid my airfare or time. However, it was the right thing to do. I know the TV market, and I wanted to help the shows. That is what synergy is. I hired a director in a production company with the help of the CVB team. They helped set up all the production times and days, and I spent 8 days with the director shooting and another 15 days editing with him. We aired and had a total viewership of 10 million. My hat's off to the CVB for recognizing an idea and making it happen. A perfect story for synergy. In our organization or city, you help each other. That is what synergy is. Many of the shows appreciated the work done. Some were worried that we had aired it too late. I agree. The shows weren't ready for us to shoot until the 1st of November. I'm proud to say that thanks to Jason, Rachel, Lynn, and the entire CVB agency team, we are currently updating the show to air on 4 different streaming channels this year. I agree these conversations are important. People need to come to the table with ideas and accept the fact, not what they assume. Our mind has to explore and be willing to accept change. Let's do what we do best, create Branson memories. In my opinion, I think we need to worry about 2022 and 2023 now. Your CVB agents is hard at work developing 2022 plans with the various oversight committees. Again, they don't do anything in a vacuum. Creating different pots of money to various groups will only water the objective to promote for all. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, your words matter. We preach kindness and ask that we respect other visitors. When they hear save our shows and save our Christmas, these are such negative comments to our visitors. I'm proud of our shows and the talent they bring to our community. Let's not put them down with these type of statements. I'm asking the mayor and the city council members to take the same approach with the community. We have to serve all the people, which includes shopping, shows, theaters, lodging, restaurants, and attractions. And I ask Mayor Milton directly, in your various correspondence, you always end with a comment for the people. I ask you to expand that and say for all the people. I submit my thoughts with much respect to you, Mr. Mayor, city council members, and everyone in the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Our next speaker is Cherry Webster, 118 Country Bluff Drive, Branson. She's speaking on Bill number 5840 and Ordinance 2020-0084.
Not to put a damper on Christmas, but we also have regular business to take care of. So as Lisa mentioned, I'm here to speak on an annexation, zoning by way of an annexation plan of intent pertaining to Bill 5840, Ordinance 2020-84, the zoning of 3885, 3855 Fall Creek Road, Fountains on Fall Creek. So I'm here tonight to ask for the status of the request made by Chairman Davis at the September Planning and Zoning Commission. At that time, the commission was notified that their body was circumvented in a 2020 zoning. Country Bluff Estates presented documentation consisting of city code, state statute, case law that were violated, and the city attorney's broadly referenced citations made at the second reading of the bill on August 11th, 2020. This staff designated zoning by way of an annexation plan of intent was 2 months after the property was annexed on the 12th of May, 2020. Was this a second annexation, a revised annexation, a circumvention of zoning laws requiring public notice and a public hearing? It all boils down to City Code 9434, annexation, all of one sentence. Any territory hereafter annexed into the city shall be zoned agricultural until changed as provided in this chapter, which would be 94-7, which requires public hearing, unless indicated in the plan of intent. How does that one sentence justify the violation of City Code 94-7, State Statute 8970, and Missouri case law, State versus the City of Arnold? And how does it justify circumventing the public notice and public hearing process? Well, we posed several questions to P&Z to find some transparency. Chairman Davis noted that it was not in the purview of the P&Z and referred the issue to the Board of Aldermen with this statement. At the 32-minute timestamp of the September P&Z hearing, Chairman Davis assigned to Alderman Denham to report to the Board of Aldermen the proceedings that occurred at P&Z and to bring reports back from what occurred at the Board of Aldermen. He then assigned Denham to present the information provided to P&Z at the next BOA meeting for a plan to be set forth, and that he wanted to see the administrator's report on it, of course, the planning director's report on it, and legal, all 4 areas. On 9/14/21, Alderman Denham presented to the BOA that same information. She emailed the hard copy questions and documentation to each alderman. Then on 9/28, at the BOA agenda, there was no item on the agenda to responding to the request for the reports. Neither was there an item on the October P&Z agenda, nor is there an item tonight on tonight's agenda. Well, prior to the October P&Z, I sent an email to City Administrator Dobbins asking for the status. The response I got back was a little interesting. On October 1st, I asked him on the status, and he responded, "I have no authority over this matter. It's a legal issue, and our outside counsel advised the information is protected communication. The chairman of the P&Z Commission sent communication to the board that the information requested is not something the P&Z board wants or desires." He stated this in the noted email copied below. Well, the noted email copied below is from September 24th to Ruth and all the other aldermen. "Thank you, Ruth. Please clarify to the mayor and aldermen that the questions are from Ms. Webster to the city and are not questions from the P&Z Commission." Well, yes, they are my questions, but does that mean that the board, the P&Z board, neither wants nor desires any of the information? Why would they not want to know why their commission was circumvented? Is that the consensus for all 10 commissioners? Additionally, City Administrator stated that it appears that I'm attempting to circumvent the Missouri Sunshine Law. Well, and he says he's not permitted to be involved in that matter. Well, I'm not trying to circumvent the Sunshine Law when I submitted a records request to city attorney to provide justification for why he violated city law, city, state, and case law.
30 seconds.
But I'm here tonight to ask for the status of those four reports. I have to also mention that I got a response back from Attorney LeBecq. He stated that, as I previously stated, and again, as plainly as I know how, I cannot give you legal advice, and you need to seek the advice of attorney. By city code, I provide advice and counsel to the mayor, the board of aldermen, and the city administrator only. I didn't ask for legal advice. I asked for transparency. I asked for justification for what the city is doing. He continues to hide behind state statute 610.021 and .010, which is closed records. What is so closed records about what actions the city is taking when they zone improperly by violating city, state, and case law? So at this time I ask, what is the status of the administrator's report? Does Mr. Dobbins' October 1st email to me constitute his report? What is the status of the legal report? Does Mr. Liebeck's October 1st email to me constitute his report? What's the status of the planning director's report? What's the status of the Board of Aldermen report? Will this board take any action on this zoning by annexation plan of intent? If not, why not? What is so closed record about the city's actions? Where's the transparency? Why would the alderman not want to know the justification for violating ordinance, statute, and case law? If there's valid justification, why not present it in a public forum? This is the show me state. Show me the valid justification. Show all of us. Show all 12,000 plus residents of Branson why the city took the actions they took in zoning fountains on Fall Creek, denying adjoining property owners and all residents public hearing as required by law. If there's valid justification, wouldn't you want all the developers in Branson to know so that they can use the same template for their property development? If there is no valid justification, would this board be open to correcting the past decision? Mistakes happen, let's just fix the mistake. And lastly, I represent not only myself, but the other presidents of Country Bluff Estates. We ask the board to rescind Ordinance 2020-84, resulting from Bill 5840, for the Fountains on Fall Creek zoning by way of annexation plan of intent, in order to more fully comply with city and state regulations, and further to leave intact the original zoning of agriculture when Fountains of Fall Creek was initially annexed according to City Code 9434 on 12 May 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, Cherry.
Our next speaker is Joey Davis, 232 Arizona Drive, Branson, Missouri. He's speaking on Ozark Mountain Christmas.
Yeah. Thank you, Joey. Our protocol is to come to the microphone and speak. Did you want to come to the microphone and address the room, or did you want to wait till after the presentation? What's your choice? Thank you.
Our next speaker is Giles Mack, P.O. Box 1761, speaking on Christmas title for this city.
Thank you, Mayor, Aldermen. I just have a quick statement to make from the spiritual angle. I have nothing against Christmas trees, and I love lights, stars, nativity scenes, all that. And I don't no problem both titles to it neither, but when they're pushing trees for a couple years now, why don't they push nativity scenes, stars, more lights, et cetera, et cetera? If a person wants to look at it in a spiritual sense, read Jeremiah. And of course, they're talking about bowing down the trees, but are we heading to this, for this city to be known as worshiping trees or worshiping Christ? And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Gary Groman, 350 South Wildwood Drive, speaking on the yellow route.
You mean he's not going to talk about fly fishing tonight?
Slow down, Gary. We have a speed limit in here.
Gary Groman, 350 South Wildwood Drive. I'm debating whether I should talk about the yellow road or have us all burst into verses of "Old Christmas Tree," but I'll stick with the yellow road because that's what I signed up for. Driving in from Springfield recently, I noticed that there's signs for the red route, there's signs for Veterans Boulevard, but there is no sign for the yellow route. So I took it upon myself to just drive the yellow route and see where the signs start and stop. And, you know, if I drive out of the foothills and I take the yellow route around to Fall Creek Road, and the signs in yellow route are great there. Matter of fact, they're actually pretty good from there on down to Roark. There, for some reason, they kind of stop. There might be one the other side before the bridge, but after that, there's no yellow sign all the way up to 248, and that's okay. But coming south, there is absolutely no sign telling people that, hey, this is a way to the yellow route. There is to the red route. Now, when you get in 248 off of 65 and you start down, there's buku red route signs. There's nothing indicating that you're on the way to the end of the yellow route. Worse yet, when you get to the junction of Epps Road and 248, there's not even a sign there that says, hey, go left for the yellow route. Then when you turn there are no yellow route signs all the way down to just about to Roark. It's been in place for 6 or 7 years. We've got beautiful signage other places, why don't we finish the job and get it done right? That's,
Thank you, Gary.
That's all of our speakers.
You said that was the end of our speakers? Next is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any member of the audience would like to have moved down from the consent agenda to ask additional questions or comments? Any items the board would like to take down? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, would you please read the items on the consent agenda?
Your Honor, the items on the consent agenda are as follows. Approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes for the September 23rd, 2021 study session, September 28th, 2021 regular meeting, and September 30th, 2021 joint meeting. Acknowledge receipt of advisory park board minutes for the August 17th, 2021 meeting. Final reading of Bill Number 6052, an ordinance approving a zoning change from mixed-use MU to high-density residential HDR for the properties located at 705 Blue Meadows Road, Branson, Missouri. Your Honor, that concludes reading the consent agenda. The floor is open for a motion approving all items on the consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote on the agenda.
Your Honor, that passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the next item is a presentation by Michael London, Revitalizing Ozark Mountain Christmas.
We will now have a presentation by Michael London.
Good evening. Well, I'm sure glad that we've raised the attention about Ozark Mountain Christmas being upon us. I consider it a great personal victory, I guess, to have the community come out and focus on it at this time. The reason why is that despite what you may have heard this evening, Ozark Mountain Christmas marketing, right up until the city council meeting, was virtually devoid in a number of the major community marketing messages. It stuns me to have our director of the Chamber of Commerce tell you that the words Ozark Mountain Christmas appeared on our Christmas landing page, because that was not there up until after the meeting that we had 2 weeks ago. I sent all of you a videotape of what appeared on the website that night. We can reference it. The words America's Christmas tree was there. Ozark Mountain Christmas was not. In fact, the same person wrote a letter to you, Mr. Mayor, citing 5 different places where Ozark Mountain Christmas was on the site the next morning, and did not even list the place that he talked about today, which was the main Christmas page. That was added the next day. So against that backdrop, I can't, before my presentation, address all the other things that were said to you already tonight. But I want you to keep in mind that there are some powerful influences who want to have you believe the way things are or the way that they see them. And I see them a completely different way. So I publish a magazine that goes out to the tour operators in the US and Canada called Branson Update. I've been on a host of various committees through the Chamber of Commerce, and you've received documentation to that effect. Tonight, I'm here to talk to you about the revitalization of Ozark Mountain Christmas. Our whole town is in the tourism business. Virtually all of the revenue coming into the area comes from tourism. It's tourism that feeds our businesses, that feeds our families, and that helps our city generate taxes to be able to provide all of the services that it does in such a great way for our citizens. A number of people, not just myself, have recognized a huge opportunity to enhance the amount of tourism dollars we generate by revitalizing, refocusing on the words Ozark Mountain Christmas. It'll give us a financial shot in the arm for all businesses and our workforce. Given our city's tight budget situation, it seems like it's really important right now to find new sources of additional revenue and hopefully limit the increased fees and taxes and potential layoffs of our neighbors and friends. Before we begin the Ozark Mountain revitalization portion of the presentation, there are some key critical definitions that I ask for all of us to hold in common, at least for tonight, and preferably always. That way we can all communicate clearly with each other, and some of the principles that I'm going to highlight can be used to judge my presentation at the end of or my proposal at the end of my talk. Hit it again?
Yeah, the down arrow.
Got the down arrow? Yep, there we go. A gentleman named J. Conrad Levinson wrote a book in the 1970s called Guerrilla Marketing. It became famous and is considered a marketing Bible because it had a practical step-by-step methods to guide companies and community groups so that they could work together to create truly magical marketing results. Levinson's definition of marketing was that it is everything you do to get customers on a regular basis. The key words are everything and regular. Tonight specifically, among the everything you do idea, we will discuss the name that we'll use to hold all other marketing activities together for our Christmas season. The concept of regular means that it's everything that we do it because it's likely to get customers to come back on a regular basis. It's a lot easier to get a customer to come for a second time than it is the first time. So you begin with that in mind from the start. So with that definition in hand, there's 4 key principles or maxims, rules to guide you in your marketing decisions. First is that we'll use to judge tonight's recommendation later is that all of your marketing tools should pull in the same direction to get a synergistic or additive effect. Secondly, to the degree possible and practical, to use research to make key decisions. And of course, that research should be unbiased and done in a professional manner. Third, we need to focus the marketing on things that make our product unique. Now we'll talk about Ozark Mountain Christmas. It's the name of Branson's umbrella concept that was implemented in 1988. It was the result of efforts and collaboration from Pete Hirsch in the Silver Dollar City and a number of other businesses who traveled to Wheeling, West Virginia. This group of Branson heroes came back with ideas of using the trade name Ozark Mountain Christmas as an umbrella under which all of the individual businesses, the shops and the theaters and the hotels and the restaurants and the attractions could work together under that name styling to synergistically build a Christmas season. Through the efforts of volunteers, what came to be Ozark Mountain Christmas was born. The Chamber, through business and personal donations, coordinated lighting up the town with the Branson Area Festival of Lights. Elaborate Christmas shows were produced from scratch by early stars of Branson, such as Jim Stafford, Shoji Tabuchi, and others. And the town slowly became very famous as a Christmas destination. Hotels put wassail in their lobbies, given a wonderful smell to our Ozark Mountain Christmas experience. SDC lit up the park and eventually created a parade and brought in special productions, not to mention those taffy apples and other joys of the season. By the early 2000s, Branson had Christmas shows happening in close to 50 theaters and over 100 shows. We became so famous for our theme park lights and Christmas production shows and our overall Christmas experience that Branson became famous literally in far-flung parts of the world. In 2011, just 10 years ago, the American Bus Association did a survey of tour planners in places from outside North America, primarily from Europe. And when asked of the famous events that can be found in North America, international tour planners listed a number of events and created a top 30 list, which included the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, Mardi Gras, the National Cherry Blossom Festival, the National Independence Day Celebration, and Ozark Mountain Christmas. The naming of our Christmas season also became famous throughout the country in newspapers and magazines and TV shows. They not only covered Ozark Mountain Christmas, but it was recognized as being one of the best, if not best, places to come for Christmas. That lasted until 2015, when there was a major disruption in the marketing of Ozark Mountain Christmas. We had a new marketing regime who came in, and unfortunately, they didn't understand Ozark Mountain Christmas very well, or at all. They didn't understand the importance of the Christmas marketing starting very early so that tourists could make a decision in advance of coming here that particular year. And despite the best efforts of many, the idea of marketing Christmas before Thanksgiving had to be argued about with these out-of-towners we'd somehow entrusted our future to. They said marketing Christmas too early was a faux pas because, as they said, everyone knows people don't want to hear about Christmas before Thanksgiving. Even worse, they promoted the idea that our shows were dying, a thing of the past. Plus, they said our customers were dying, despite the coming baby boomer generation about to bring us record numbers of potential showgoers, aging showgoers. They literally ran a campaign to convince people this wasn't your grandma's Branson anymore. The mischaracterization of our shows and customers was despite research that had been just recently done in 2013. It was, as far as I know, in the last 20-some years, the largest study of our entertainment product, in which a number of different types of images were shown to visitors and non-visitors. Not here locally after they came out of seeing a Christmas tree and said, did the Christmas tree interest you? But people in Kansas City, over 1,600 of them, were divided into two categories, visitors and non-visitors. And they were shown a number of photos. And among those photos, they were asked which are the ones most likely to drive you to come to Branson. As you can see, under the visitors, Christmas production shows were the #1 pick of the visitor group. And of the non-visitors, people who had never been to Branson before but indicated they might go there, picked Christmas production shows as the #2 image that would motivate them to come to the town. Despite that backdrop of marketing information available for the new marketing group in 2005, the image of the Liverpool Legends show portraying the Beatles at their hippiest psychedelic best appeared on the main photo of the live show page for virtually all of the holiday season. Think about that one. Until December the 9th, when finally, after a dozen or more letters and meetings, we finally got some Christmas images on the site. Most of the Christmas coverage in all of the categories did not appear on the website that year until November the 13th, despite the fact that prospective visitors made their decisions to travel far in advance and that Ozark Mountain Christmas period started November 1st. When that occurred, the main Christmas marketing that was pointed out to me as a result of saying, hey, where's our Christmas? It was to go on to the Google and the search for the 5 Ozark Mountain Christmas must-dos. And on November the 13th of that year, the 5 to-dos, which are now listed from top to bottom, the top one being Silver Dollar Cities and Old Time Christmas. And as you look out horizontally, that's all the imagery that was on the site that year to represent the number 1 most important thing to do, which is to go to Old Time Christmas. The second thing to do, you can see no photos as you go across the 3 in the second row. That's our Christmas lights and how they were represented. Number 3, the Christmas parade. You can see the 3 photos for the Christmas parade. The problem there being, the site got up on November 13, and the parade happened the day or 2 before. There were no shows, no Christmas production show images on the 5 must-do things for Ozark Mountain Christmas, and there was no shopping images. Thus, really, the only relevant photography was the SDC coverage. From that moment through to today, there's been a tragically deficient marketing of the community trade line, Ozark Mountain Christmas, not only in our website, but on our TV ads, in some of the print publications, particularly in 2016 when this occurred, and our public relations efforts, as recently as 2 years of video press release going out, only talking about Christmas trees and shopping. Our Christmas production shows have met the same fate as Ozark Mountain Christmas and the lack of proper marketing throughout the period of time from this moment until today on the website. In 2016, 30-plus businesses approached the then City Council with their concern on this matter, and they were basically sent back to the Chamber of Commerce because the city does not get involved in the marketing. At about the same period of time, the lights started going out in Branson. From the Grand Palace, which had closed, and many other businesses that were no longer putting up the Christmas lights. Suddenly, without much warning, we no longer had the community baffle lighting the entire strip, and the Christmas stars were gone as the chamber gave up this activity. Pete Hirsch and Ann Mcdowell came to the rescue. They had an idea on how to get the town dressed up again for Christmas, and a new idea was born to have Christmas trees bought by local businesses with the expressed intent to support Ozark Mountain Christmas. Well over the years, the number of trees grew and grew, and I think Pete and Ann deserve an award for the monumental decorating effort that they ensured. Then a problem arose. Despite the fact that the original concept of the trees was to support Ozark Mountain Christmas, the words Ozark Mountain Christmas were disappearing from the community lexicon. Since a new idea can often fill a void, the Christmas Coalition, who'd made up the Christmas tree idea, decided to start calling Branson America's Christmas Tree City. Unintended or not, that slogan began replacing the Ozark Mountain Christmas in practice, if not had been written in stone. There were objections to this right away, including ones brought to this city council. Because local business persons recognized that Ozark Mountain Christmas was a season, an umbrella concept, under which all the other things offered in the area could fit, where America's Christmas Tree City was a claim that our city was something which many people feared it wasn't, because there was not a sufficient density of trees in any one place, then or now, to warrant calling our town America's Christmas Tree City. As recently expressed by a seasoned local marketing professional, if we are America's Christmas Tree City, why do we need to give customers a map to find the trees? When the people with this concern approached the Branson Chamber of Commerce, it fell on deaf ears. They then went to the city and were told the chamber's the group to go to. They're set up to use our tax dollars, the city tax dollars, to do our marketing. So you need to go to the District Marketing Council. So we did. We called and wrote. And finally, in August of 2019, there was an item on the DMC agenda, the discussion of the Christmas tree ad for that season. One of the key reps of the shows said in that meeting, in the discussion when it came up about whether or not to use America's Christmas Tree City on the ad of that year, that he didn't support the America's Christmas Tree City because there's not enough trees to support the tagline. And he preferred a Branson logo and a Branson branding throughout the spot versus America's Christmas Tree. He went on to say, we can't deliver on the message of America's Christmas Tree City. By the way, you have a handout which has every mention of anything that went into the minutes of that meeting. But in synopsis, here's the most important parts. This is directly from the meeting minutes. On the Christmas TV spot, don't necessarily support because there's not enough trees to support the tagline. Wants to have, we already said that. We can't deliver. And you'll notice on the document it says, America's Christmas Tree City is not a viable title in the consensus of the DMC. So, relying on the reports of that meeting and the minutes that were eventually issued and certified, those of us that approached the DMC and hoped that the message would get through to that group, we were all happy and celebrated. Problem is, unfortunately, our hopes were dashed as America's Christmas Tree City appeared on that year's Christmas TV spot and the big Branson Christmas music special. Anybody who's looked on the website recently knows that the use of Ozark Mountain Christmas has unfortunately continued to go away. The director of the chamber accurately noted where it was in his letter to the mayor, except for 3 of the 5 sightings were not about Ozark Mountain Christmas at all. They were about the Ozark Mountains and how you can see them on a train or some other such thing. So there were only 2 mentions on the entire, everything related to the Christmas, as verified by a search on the term Ozark Mountain Christmas, which shows up every place on the website where you can find that term. Now, today, what we're talking about, though, isn't killing America's Christmas Tree City. What we're talking about is a rebirth of Ozark Mountain Christmas, because we have Christmas shows, Christmas shopping, Christmas lights, and Christmas trees to attract new and previous visitors. These things, particularly the top 2, are inside the city of Branson, where the tax dollars spent on those entities will directly help solve the issues that you have in terms of budgeting. Among those, you'll recall that the research said the number 1 motivated potential visitors was Christmas production show images. That was found to be the most likely thing to get people to come to Branson. As importantly, we have lots of empty theater seats, and we could sell them with no additional cost to the people who created that product. and generate a huge amount of money, including tax revenues so badly needed, but only if we use marketing that features our unique identifying product, our Christmas shows. Now, we have a product in our town that's really the best in the country because it carries the spirit of Christmas from our founding families to shows that produce decades of Christmas travelers in the past and Christmas passed to life again. We have new families still coming to Branson, creating never-ending, new, clever ways to present our Christmas product. We have the biggest performing family in the world doing Christmas, most importantly, showing its true meaning. We have a show that replicates probably the most famous song and dance line for Christmas in the country. We have shows that dedicate themselves to one particular era of Christmas and of our past, and ones that cover multiple areas. We have a famous story turned into a Christmas production play. We have national celebrities who promote Branson as they travel throughout the country. We have some shows that have gained so much popularity, they have their own TV show to promote Ozark Mountain Christmas, and specifically music production shows every week on TV. We have superstar entertainers that do a marvelous job at producing a Christmas show. We have local heroes like Mr. Clay Cooper himself, destined to be one of Branson's greatest leaders. I'm not pandering. He's already one of the area's top showmen, if not the top, and he puts on an incredible Christmas show. Take a look at that staging. We have international stars. Daniel O'Donnell comes every year. He's the king of PBS, a true Branson ambassador for the holidays. What we skipped there was we have a case of what's old is new, where we have a new Christmas drama based on the characters of an old play, the book that started it all, A Shepherd of the Hills. We have some of the nicest people in the world dancing and singing their hearts out, bringing us the magic of the season. Our shows should be the face of Ozark Mountain Christmas marketing, not trees. That's what the research says, not just in 2013, but as recently as 2019 with the Sound Diplomacy study saying, once again, people love our shows and they are the primary tourism driver in Branson. So before we take our marketing test based on using the principles of J. Conrad Levison to determine whether or not this is a direction that we ought to go, we're going to mention a few quotes from, yes, Facebook, our local citizens, to even suggest that we shouldn't take into account our citizens in this matter and that we should rely on the experts. In the city of Branson, where Ozark Mountain Christmas was built as a volunteer effort by people like me and you, scalds me. So before we take a look at these quotes, and speaking of Facebook, in case you think I'm exaggerating about the lack of Ozark Mountain Christmas, Christmas show, and Christmas itself marketing, go to the official Explore Branson group on Facebook. They post regularly stories every couple of days. And scroll backwards in time, starting with today. There's not a single Christmas story all the way back in time to at least early spring, if not last winter. And that's despite the fact that group people like myself in large numbers have come out and said, we want Christmas marketed all year long. It's the most important part of our season, most important part of our year. Now, here's what some locals have said, well, yes, on Facebook as a medium to gather what they've said. Ozark Mountain Christmas has been a mainstay in this area for many, many years, and it's a shame we're trying to change it now. Ozark Mountain Christmas is a direct connection to the Ozarks. The other moniker is used in small town claims across the country. Ozark Mountain Christmas is the brand of our Christmas season. There are multiple cities across America that promotes their Christmas trees and lights. There is only one Ozark Mountain Christmas. Ozark Mountain Christmas brought thousands of buses to Branson. Why change what works? As an aside, my sister is a tour operator out of St. Louis, and she handles groups from all over the Midwest. And if you were to ask her, what would sell Branson, Ozark Mountain Christmas or America's Christmas Tree City, she'd laugh at the question, because people will not sign up to be on a bus and come from Atlanta to Branson to see trees. We need to focus on Ozark Mountain Christmas. We should save Ozark Mountain Christmas. Many of my clients, persons in the tour travel business, through the years have said that's why they chose this destination for their holiday family vacations. Ozark Mountain Christmas is a brilliant concept, perfect visualization of what Branson represents, and a time-honored tradition. It must be saved for the success of Branson during the Christmas season. If I was a local business, I most likely would feel inclined to promote my Ozark Mountain Christmas community slogan on my storefront. The Ozark Mountain Christmas logo brings out warmth, memories, gentleness, not plastic, generic competition. America's Christmas Tree City, just as a reminder, our own district marketing council, in approved meeting minutes, said it's not a viable title. Ozark Mountain Christmas is the umbrella to our Branson Christmas season and has been for over 3 decades. We need to get back to what brought us to the party. So there's a grassroots effort underway, of which my speaking here tonight is part of. It's a committee of Branson business persons who have the desire to market our community under the name Ozark Mountain Christmas. Its short-term goal is to acquire new visitors to Ozark Mountain Christmas this year, especially in the slower weeks. It has a long-term goal to reestablish Ozark Mountain Christmas to be an internationally known event and to drive ever-increasing number of visitors and to help the city of Branson, its business, and its citizens prosper. Given that backdrop, we want to go back to the maxims of J. Conrad Levinson. And I ask you the question, do we have an umbrella name that can let us all pull together and create a synergistic effect? Is our marketing of Christmas shows under that umbrella based on research? Is Ozark Mountain Christmas unique? As an aside, one of the things that's been lost in the transition to the new marketing team coming in is we lost the idea of marketing 5 seasons of Branson, a unique hook to get attention. 5 seasons? Each of the 5 were marketed with their own compelling reasons to return that we could let our customers, encourage our customers to return throughout the year, and we can tell them all year long to come back for Ozark Mountain Christmas season. So, do we have a way to use our newly revitalized name to market for repeat customers? It's baked in. We asked the city of Branson, the grassroots effort interested in formalizing the city's interest in promoting Ozark Mountain Christmas, to declare November 1 to January 7 be called Ozark Mountain Christmas, to encourage our entire town to promote Ozark Mountain Christmas in every way that they can, to require entities that spend city tourism tax funds to promote Ozark Mountain Christmas in all they do, to expedite use of discretionary funds for emergency market of Ozark Mountain Christmas, and to support the Ozark Mountain Christmas fundraising and marketing efforts, both short and long term. I'm inclined to end it there, because if I started addressing some of the remarks that were made in preliminary things, it would probably change my demeanor.
So why don't we just,
I'd like to end with, I think that we should support the idea of long live Ozark Mountain Christmas as our core marketing identity, and to make our decision process out here in the open, not behind closed doors, and incorporate the citizens of Branson's information as we do that. Thank you.
thank you, Michael. We would now invite comments from those in the chambers. Hello, Jason.
Jason Altman, President and CEO of the Branson Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce, 4100 Gretna Road. I want to thank Mr. London for reminding me that, Ozark Mountain Christmas is a valuable resource for this city. And that's why we have it on our website. That's why we have it in the vacation guide that we print 250,000 of each year and mail it out. And it's also why we understand the importance of Christmas. And so I thank him for that. I also thank him for his research that he's done, and it makes me question why I spend research money every month with H2R Research when I've got somebody volunteering research right here. I should maybe have him look at everything we do. 1977, was I even born yet? I'm not sure, but I do appreciate the insight that he has shared. I also want to just make a comment that the slides that he showed on our website are invalid. We have gone back and actually looked at to try to figure out where he even pulled those from. We think maybe 2018, maybe 2015, long before me in my presence, being here in 2021. I am an outsider to this region. I love Christmas. I love Christ. And I understand the true meaning of Christmas. And I agree. There was a gentleman that mentioned it earlier, and I think that's really what the importance is. However, I do understand marketing, having been a destination marketer for 20 years, and understanding that you have an overall marketing effort with campaigns inside of it. Marketing effort here is Ozark Mountain Christmas with an inside campaign of America's Christmas Tree City. I applaud what Mr. London has put on here. I think it would be outstanding to see Ozark Mountain Christmas in everybody's window. I think it would be outstanding. I also think it'd be outstanding for our visitors to come and see the Christmas trees that our businesses and our residents have spent so much time putting together. I think 60 now in market. I think it can be used for both. I also think that the Ozark Mountains, which stem 50,000 miles, I think the cities in the other 5 states would also very much appreciate we continue to push Ozark Mountain Christmas as it would push visitors to their region as well. As a volunteer that markets the city of Branson, because for those that don't know, we can't spend a single dime of the money we receive to pay our staff, so we do this on a voluntary basis. We are open to hear the insights. We are also open to share what we are doing for Christmas. Christmas lives on our website year-round. All the other cities I've ever been in and destination marketing in, we've never done that before. So I celebrate this staff for even having Christmas on the website year-round. And I'm excited because part of the reason I took this job was when I came here December 4th of last year with my 18-year-old son, and we walked around and we saw all the lights, and we went to Silver Dollar City and we all saw the festivities of what Branson had going on. It meant something. And we were excited to be here, and I'm excited to see this Christmas with my wife, because my wife didn't get to see it last year. And now that she's here with me, I'm excited to see what this Christmas is going to be all about. I know there's some exciting new things coming. I think some more restaurants that are going to be so lit up you might not be able to see when you drive down Main Street. So we're excited. I thank Mr. London for the research that he has done. Keeps us on our toes. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jason.
I'm State Representative Brian Seitz. I live at 1805 Miller Drive here in Branson. And I just want to say, I think this is a great opportunity to renew the spirit of Ozark Mountain Christmas. I've been here 30-some years and was vacationing a decade before that. And I can think back at the times that I took my family to see the stars as they lined the strip or some of the outer roads with the entertainers. There was Mo Bandy and Andy Williams and Mickey Gilley and some of the others were there. We drove all over looking at that. Branson was a magical place during that time period, not only because we had so many visitors and tour buses, but because of the emphasis on Ozark Mountain Christmas. And I know, because I owned a newspaper during that time period, we began to promote that time in Branson early on. Even in the spring and summer, we were promoting Ozark Mountain Christmas. So I think this is, in conjunction with some of the other things that we're doing, a great opportunity to renew that logo, renew that brand, and renew that spirit of Christmas for Branson, Missouri. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts with you. My name is Paul Bluto. Our family owns the IMAX Entertainment Complex, Heroes Restaurant, and Florentina's Restaurant, and Branson Meadows Cinema. One of the things that I hear almost every day is, when are you going to open Branson Meadows back up again? The problem that we've had and continues to have is that the studios have continued to postpone the release of a lot of the movies. And that's one of the reasons that we've had to postpone it. Currently, our plan is to open it up again in the spring, and we hope we'll have the content to put in there at the time that we do, because it's really sorely needed. The other reason, the main reason I'm here is, I don't know whether most of you saw the article that Larry had in the Branson newspaper. I am here to offer our support for anything that we can do to help cure that situation. That means going to Jeff City and having a meeting with the Senate up there. We're happy to do that, to help in that process. I'm not going to tell you something you don't already know. I'm going to tell you what the simplest solution, not the easiest, but the simplest solution to the problem. And the simplest solution is for all of the shows not to discount tickets at all. That would be the simplest solution. Now, I don't anticipate that's going to happen, but if it doesn't, maybe another alternative would be to look at setting some kind of a minimum or a maximum amount, let's say 20 or 25% is all that they could discount. Because the goal should be for us to be sure that all of the visitors that come to Branson, Missouri, what they spend should be taxed. And that's what I'm urging you to do. If any of you are interested in helping get together, just let Larry know, and I'll do anything I can to help in that process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bluto.
You learn to use your phone all over again.
I usually sit in that third row, but I wanted to stream. There's quite a draft coming down in that second row there, so anyway.
Dries your eyes out.
Yes, exactly. Hello, Marshall Howden, 106 Rose O'Neill. I rise this evening to speak on the topic of Ozark Mountain Christmas. Quite frankly, representing many others in the Branson entertainment industry who couldn't be here tonight, but are absolutely in support of this effort. In the recent few months, I've been presenting written reports to the Branson Theater League on some of the efforts I've been working on to preserve the history and foster the future of our live music show industry. An example of this being the Shoji Tabuchi Day celebration. So in one of my recent reports a month or so ago, I simply broached the subject of Ozark Mountain Christmas. I wanted to feel out the interest in bringing this topic back up, which is something a lot of us have wanted for a while now. I expected some in our industry to say that it wasn't worth it to put in the work it would take to recalibrate our Christmas messaging. But I didn't get that. Instead, I received overwhelming feedback that Ozark Mountain Christmas was invaluable to our future and well worth preserving. I spoke to every aspect of the industry about this topic, from the leadership at BAM to the Theater League to individual show owners and producers. Folks, this is not a Marshall movement. It's not, even with all due respect, a Michael London movement. These are citizens of Branson standing up to say, let us please preserve our traditions. Yeah. I've lived in Branson all my life, and I feel I have a strong pulse on how we feel about traditions here. I'm a very traditional guy myself. I was very sad to see my college football team wear orange and black over the weekend when everyone knows we're orange and white. Threw that in for you, Bill. Thank you. But in all seriousness, let's not make this a fight. Christmas is about family, and Branson has always been a family. I think what will be helpful for you, the board, is an affirmation of our traditions, an affirmation that Branson is a place that will never forsake our American Judeo-Christian values, and an affirmation that moving forward means doing so together. So join with us in affirming Ozark Mountain Christmas. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Marshall.
Bill Stahl, 169 Michaels Drive, Hollister. As my brother back here said earlier, Christmas isn't about trees. It isn't about Santa Claus. It isn't about gifts, except the one gift that was most important, God's love. That's the gift that wound up in the stable. And as soon as Christ is left out of the message of Branson, Branson's going to wind up in jeopardy. When the Christ child was born, Herod was talking about taxes. Most of what I've heard here tonight was about taxes and revenue and propagandizing income. And I'm not against income, but I am against neglecting our Savior and Lord, Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Bill.
Hi, I'm Cindy Mary, 67 Melody Manor Lane, and your TCED, Branson rep. And I think this is really exciting that we've got everybody together and really focusing on the messaging for the season of Ozark Mountain Christmas and how valuable that is. I think that there's been a disconnect in that, for instance, we love Ozark Mountain Christmas. That's our brand, that's our umbrella. Our TV ads last year ended with Branson, America's Christmas tree city. Didn't say anything about Ozark Mountain Christmas. Be in Branson for Ozark. So I think what this is asking is that the city sort of make it official so we don't lose Ozark Mountain Christmas again. I think that's the real goal, to keep us all on track. So, any questions? Oh, one other thing. What happens is we say the right things, but then the details, it gets lost. So, for instance, if you take a look at your page 88 of Ozark Mountain Christmas, it's great. Ozark Mountain Christmas, we used it. All of the text is about Christmas trees, attractions, nothing about shows, one line. So that's what I mean about details, paying attention to the details so it accomplishes what we're saying up here. And that's just one more comment. Oh, one more. I worked for the Table Rock Lake Chamber in 1988 when we started Ozark Mountain Christmas. It was a regional effort. That's one of the reasons why Ozark Mountain Christmas began. The Branson Chamber copyrighted, trademarked the name Ozark Mountain Christmas, let it go in 1990. We worked as a community to create all the lights, to put everything up. And I really think that the Christmas Coalition started with the right idea, which was the first thing, Ozark Mountain Christmas begins in less than 4 months. Are you ready? Get your property decorated. And one of the things that the Ozark Mountain Christmas Committee is put on our goals is to help the Christmas Coalition get the businesses to decorate up. Because that was really what Pete was saying. All the lights are gone. We need to get the feeling for our customers back. And working together, I think we can do it. And I think the city can set the goal by saying, Ozark Mountain Christmas is our season. It's important to us. All the things that involve that. And we as a city are saying, that's what we want to see, and that's what we want to see in the future, no matter who's doing the marketing. So, okay.
Thank you, Cindy.
My name's Jonathan Edwards. I have a show called Absolutely Country, Definitely Gospel in the Master Lease at the Majestic Theater here. I don't have a marketing firm that works with me, and apparently I need one because I didn't even make the slide presentation tonight, but with our show. But one of the first things I learned when I came to town, we were at the God and Country Theater, and this is not a slam against anybody, but it was a pretty smart statement, in my opinion, from Dick and Dawn Easton that owned the God and Country Theater. And I asked when I got there why they did not have a marketing firm or marketing person working for them. Their response was because every marketing person that's ever walked through our door has asked one question: how much money do you have to spend? Not what can I do or how can I help your business, but what kind of money you have to spend. And I think tonight boils down to the fact of where you're going to spend your money. Whether it's promoting Ozark Mountain Christmas or America's Christmas trees or whatever it is, I think it boils down to money. And I think the idea, even in their own words, is that the search engines don't even come up with Ozark Mountain Christmas means we haven't done a good enough job. If Branson Christmas and Christmas Branson is what comes up at the top, it's pretty generic. We haven't spent our money to promote it. If I want Absolutely Country, Definitely Gospel to come out, I got to promote it. I got to put it out there. I got to spend the money in order for them to search Branson shows and my name to come up. And so I think it boils down to that. And then another thing I've got a major problem with, and I won't call out anybody in this town, but I have a major problem with the fact that we can make things up and act like they're real. America's Christmas city, Branson? Do we have a bunch of Christmas tree farms around here I don't know about? Or should it be America's fake Christmas tree city? I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm just saying, guys, if you have all the wisdom of marketing, come up with something that's unique to Branson, Missouri. Because when I first moved to town, I realized we spent $600,000 on a commercial that showed 3 seconds of a live show in Branson. It showed our beautiful lakes and our mountains and all the things, and that's fine. But I'm sitting in a hotel room in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, where I see an ad for Branson that shows 3 seconds of a show and the rest talking about the beautiful mountains and lakes. Now, I got a question. If I'm sitting in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee with the mountains and lakes that they have, do you really think I want to come to Branson for mountains and lakes? I want to come to Branson because we have live shows. Branson has that. Pigeon Forge doesn't. They have a few, but nothing like what we do here. And so if you're going to spend your marketing dollars and all the genius of people going to school and learning how to learn to do that, umbrella, put it under the umbrella, but make sure it's real. We have people in this town claiming things that aren't real. I'll give you an example. On my rack card, you know what's on my rack card? Branson's favorite trio. You might have an issue with that with higher power, but you know why I put it there? Because I got tired of hearing people talk about all the things that they have done and the most popular and the hottest and all of that, and there's no accountability for it. And if we're going to be as a city, I think we need to stand up and be accountable for something that is real, not something that we just throw out on the wall and say, you know what, I hope it sticks.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Peggy Haining, 1440 State Highway 248, Branson. I couldn't remember if we called it America's Christmas Tree City or National Christmas Tree City, so I just typed in Christmas Tree City. And what I came up with was Sanger, California, which is, as of October 1st, 1949, officially recognized by the Post Office Department as the nation's Christmas Tree City, because in April of 1926, the General Grant tree was recognized as the nation's Christmas tree. So here's another perspective. Our family, when we moved to Branson in May of 2011, we were then a nationally touring bluegrass gospel Americana style band. And in the process of being a band, we traveled literally border to border, coast to coast. Our winters were spent playing for snowbirds and winter Texans, who would tell us about our new hometown that we hadn't had time to learn about. And they'd say, "Oh, have you been there for the Ozark Mountain Christmas?" "No, what's that?" And then they would proceed to tell us how they'd taken various vacations for Christmas over the years, but Branson's Ozark Mountain Christmas was their favorite because it always felt like coming for a family gathering. And then they would talk about going out to Silver Dollar City, going into the shops, going just to drive around and look at the lights. But in looking at Branson's, excuse me, I have to look it up here a minute. I took screenshots because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to find things. In looking up something about Branson and Ozark Mountain Christmas, I typed in Ozark Mountain Christmas, and it brought me to all the things that we've heard about tonight, the Christmas Tree City. I looked up destinations and Christmas trees in America, and I was taken to a Woman's Day magazine poll of 40 top Christmas towns to go to in America. And Branson was listed as number 8. And here's the paragraph that it gave. Branson is proud of its nickname, America's Christmas Tree City. It's home to an old-time Christmas festival with live Christmas shows, 1,000 decorated trees, an 8-story Christmas tree tricked out with special effects, and the Holly Jolly Christmas Light Parade. Who is that advertising? That is Silver Dollar City. Branson is nowhere in that equation. But that was listed as the number 8 of top 40 in Women's Day magazine. That had nothing to do with what people had been telling me for years about why they came to Branson for Christmas. And I've heard the arguments about, it's not your grandma's Branson anymore. No, it's not. Because now those grandmas have brought their kids here for many Branson Ozark Mountain Christmases. And they've brought their grandkids with their kids. So they come here and they rent out the 3- and 4-bedroom condos so that they can have their family Christmas here, usually at Thanksgiving time, because then Grandma and Grandpa are going on to be winter Floridians, winter Texans, winter, snowbirds in Arizona, because it gets cold up north and they don't want to drive on the icy roads. But they gather here with their families for an Ozark Mountain Christmas. And when we first moved here, and we'd heard about it for a few months, then came our first Ozark Mountain Christmas. And when we saw that really pretty light display go up in the roundabout by the hospital, it's like, we're home. We get to be here. We get to live here in the Ozark Mountain Christmas everybody's been telling us about. And I can't even tell you how sad I was when that went away and it was replaced by something that looked like a neon giant safety cone. Now there's little bitty trees that were put in there last year, but I'm just telling you, from perspective of somebody that's traveled around and performed in front of and then heard the stories afterwards of people who were so excited when they heard we'd moved to Branson. Bring back the Ozark Mountain Christmas and just use the Christmas tree tour as a feature, but don't make that the moniker.
Thank you, Peggy.
You're doing good, Gary.
Hallelujah. At last, my prayers have been answered. I've heard Ozark Mountain Christmas mentioned more here tonight than I have in the last 2 years. And I'm so proud to hear what the Chamber's doing. And sir, I want to applaud you because you said the Chamber site was all updated in 2020. Mr. London said he went the day after his speech, and pages have been changed since then. Now, I'm not the smartest bulb on this Christmas tree, but folks, one of them's wrong, and if I were you, I'd want to know which one was wrong because somebody's. But anyway, I did not come here tonight to fight. I came here in Christmas and love mode. We are not talking about a logo here. We're talking about a specific name to be used as a marketing umbrella for one of the most important seasons of the year to many people and Branson businesses, Christmas. From a pure marketing point of view, which of these two names, Ozark Mountain Christmas or America's Christmas Tree City, is more likely to entice visitors to come to Branson during the Christmas season and to return to celebrate future Christmases in Branson? To most folks, particularly those who celebrate the traditional Christmas, Christmas is more than Christmas trees. Sure, Christmas trees are part of many people's Christmas, but just part. To most people celebrating Christmas, Christmas trees are just one part of Christmas. More important to many celebrating the traditional Christmas would be the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ, spending special time with family, Santa Claus, Christmas carols, Christmas dinner, celebrating family traditions, and much more. To me, the two terms, America's Christmas Tree City, inspires a one-dimensional thought, Christmas trees. On the other hand, the term Ozark Mountain Christmas is multidimensional and thoughts of Christmas and all it's entailed in its celebration. Ozark Mountain Christmas, just like most families' Christmas, encompasses more than one activity. From a marketing perspective, it is an excellent introductory descriptor. Now, I had to use that because I'm not a marketing person, so I thought I'd use something that they'd never seen. But Christmas let me go with that. That was such a good one. From a marketing perspective, it is an excellent introductory descriptor for all the Christmas activities that celebrating Christmas in the midst of Ozark Mountains, Branson is. Silver Dollar City's Old Time Christmas, Branson's excellent Christmas production shows, Christmas lights with drive-through displays, America's Christmas Tree City Trail, and I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I used America's because I went with what they had in their site. Adoration Parade, and many more elements that make up a special traditional Christmas celebration not found anywhere else. Ozark Mountain Christmas. I would urge you to take whatever action you deem necessary to ensure that the umbrella that is used is Ozark Mountain Christmas. We can put anything under that. We might want to take America's Christmas Tree City off and just say Branson's Christmas Tree City or Christmas Tree City. But thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Uh-oh.
That's hard. That's hard to do. Diana Allen, ALLYNN, 140 Forest Lane, Branson, Missouri. He said a lot of what I was already going to say, but one thing, I've been coming since 1965, and this was always our family's place. It was our second home. And in probably right around 1990, we were living in Iowa, and we got that marketing message about Ozark Mountain Christmas. And I ended up bringing my kids back down here to be able to be part of that, because to me that sounds like a memory maker. And America's Christmas Tree City, the only problem I have with it is it sounds like another brand, and I think it's hard to serve two masters and brand two things. I think the Christmas trees under the Ozark Mountain brand is awesome. I don't think there's any problem with it, but I don't know if you could have got a very frightened person like me on ice to drive 8 hours with my children to come to America's Christmas Tree City. But you might have pulled me out, and you did pull me out. The ice storm chased us all the way down here. And by the way, when we came down, they weren't even really set up with Ozark Mountain Christmas. We came at Thanksgiving. There was an ice storm. Everything was closed down, and I fed my children a Thanksgiving dinner out of the vending machine. I know, but it's a great memory, isn't it? Isn't that a great memory? Okay, the last but not least is I haven't figured out how we put tourism dollars on a Christmas tree in the shows and the meals and all the other things bring in those tourism dollars. So that's all I have to say. Keep Ozark Mountain Christmas.
Thank you, Diana.
Mayor, Aldermen, my name is Richard Freihofer. I publish the Branson Insider, a publication promoting our shows, attractions, and shopping venues to our visitors. Over the past 27 years, I have promoted Branson through several annual and monthly out-of-market publications and internet websites targeting families, seniors, church groups, and the group travel market. In all this marketing, I used Ozark Mountain Christmas as a perfect incentive for visits to Branson in November and December. From a marketing point of view, I believe millions of dollars have been spent promoting Ozark Mountain Christmas over the years. It's a beautiful brand. It captures our region, our culture, and our celebration, and gives us access to promote our values, all in one statement. I have been promoting that brand in all of my print and electronic media with the following sub-headlines: Christmas shows, Christmas attractions, Christmas shopping, and Christmas fun. What other destination can compete with that message? I have two final things to say. Years ago, my wife and I took our family to Disney World in the month of July. In July, we entered our room and were greeted by a tent card on our table. It was Mickey Mouse dressed up as Santa, inviting us back for Christmas and giving us reasons why we would want to come back. That mouse knows marketing. We need a community marketing plan and budget that includes getting tent cards in every hotel room, inviting guests all year long to come back for Ozark Mountain Christmas, just like Mickey did. Finally, I would like to say that as a salesman, I can tell you that no one will want to buy from you unless you demonstrate how irresistible your product is to your prospect. If we survey the public and ask them if they are interested in our destination, well, that gives one outcome. But if we sell our destination and demonstrate how irresistible we are, that will give us the outcome we want. If we continue to sell Ozark Mountain Christmas, our awesome Christmas shows, Christmas attractions, and Christmas shopping, our buyers will come. To my fellow Branson businesses, I'd like to say, hey, let's just keep selling Ozark Mountain Christmas. But let's start doing it all year long by saying, come back for Ozark Mountain Christmas. Christmas shows, Christmas attractions, Christmas shopping, and Christmas fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Joy Davis, 232 Arizona Drive, but here in Branson, but more likely I'm at 119 West Main Farmhouse Restaurant right downtown. So I don't have any expertise in marketing, and I know that we need to do marketing. I've been here for 44 years. I can remember when we didn't have Christmas that we're marketing, and we didn't have business. But, and so I appreciate all the marketing that's put into it. I kind of do my own little marketing because we have our card, our comment card, and I probably get 400 of those a month, and I try to read every one of them, and I talk to the customers that come in, and they come over and over again because of our family, God-centered area. They come from those areas that love this, and they come because their grandmother brought them years ago, and their children and their grandchildren are still coming, and they talk about shows. What shows should they go to? And, of course, they love the shopping. I've never heard them mention Christmas trees one time. And I know you can ask questions, when you're marketing, but a lot of times the questions can be asked in such a way that you get answers maybe that you want to. So again, I don't know about all the marketing, but I do talk to a lot of people, and I hear over and over and over again, they come back again and again because they love us here. We get two compliments from our restaurant, is that the reason they come in is because they love our product and they love how friendly we are. It's genuine friendly. And those are the major reasons why they come back over and over again to our place and to Branson. And so I think we have to always remember that. It's not slick. I mean, we need to be polished and we need to do the best we can, but those are the main reasons. And so let's keep Christ in Christmas and don't be like the Grinch that tried to steal all the presents. And what he really wanted was that little girl that loved him. And that made the whole Christmas season.
So, in the spirit of respecting everybody's time, I'm going to ask that Marlis will be the last speaker. And Joey, thank you so much for sharing that.
Hi, I am Marlis Stockinger, and I live at 998 Tunnel Drive, Branson, West, Missouri. What do I have to say? First off, I love the trees. I love everything about Christmas. I think that there should not be animosity. It hurts me. I have been here, and it doesn't even matter the year. I probably couldn't remember it anyway. But here's the deal. I think I've sat on every committee in this town. I sat on the Branson Area Festival of Lights. I have sat on the Ozark Mountain Christmas part of things. I've sat on the public relations for the town. I know about the monies. Okay? Is that what we're about? And the committees that I sat on, we wanted to give to our tourists. That's where we put it. I, along with Larry Milton, we did everything, and Larry did wonderful things for Branson Area Festival of Lights. He's the one, and I don't want to embarrass you, honey. Okay?
You're doing a good job, Marlis.
Okay, keep it up.
Yeah.
But he is the man and the company that when people were not, and I mean the businesses, were not giving money to support the Branson Area Festival of Lights, Larry Milton and Branson Tourism, and I was a part of Branson.com, was the one that gave the $25,000 out of his own pocket to make sure that we could have Branson Area Festival of Lights. We're forgetting something here, and it makes me angry. My experience has been, you can talk till hell freezes over. But if you can't get your town, and I mean the businesses, not only the shows are already doing their part, don't forget it. They close down at the end of October to make sure that you have something of Christmas on their stages. But there's a lot of businesses here. So before you get too crazy, make doggone good and sure that they're all going to help you. Because the reason that Branson Area Festival of Lights had to close down, because I sat on that committee, I know the dollars, I probably have the papers still, was because the town quit supporting it. Stop and think about it, gang. You can talk about all these things, but unless you've got your whole town, and not just the shows, and you better pray about it, because we need a God, and he's ours, and he is what has made this town all these years. And that's a fact. And when you forget that, I remember when I was doing all the stuff for the veterans, I started the Purple Heart event with Larry. I never worried about the numbers. I prayed that God would take care of all that and that I would do a good job of bringing our people here. That it would come from my heart and that I would keep things pure. God honors purity. When you step away from that and you start worrying about all the plastic things, we got a problem. This town is full of a lot of Christianity. And what I just would like for all of you to think about, is make sure that that's what your town wants. If you take this little bit here that we have here, does not quite equal 10,500 people. It does not equal all those businesses. Jamie sits up there from Tanger Mall. He is a great man. I can personally vouch for that. Absolutely. And just make sure, you guys, that all those places in Tanger Mall and all these little shops that have hurt so bad during our pandemic can help you. And this is what they want. And this is what they can afford. You know what I'm trying to say? Because without the support of all of our businesses, we can't go anywhere. I am for Ozark Mountain Christmas to be the umbrella, and I love the idea of our I'm sorry. I was injured in a brain injury, and so sometimes I forget. Christmas trees. I don't think that we should hurt anyone that has ideas. I don't think we should fight with each other. So it's different, who cares? We got a whole new generation coming up, So let's all do it together. Let's do it out of kindness for each other, okay? Come on, give yourselves a nice round of applause. You deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlis.
Thank you, Marlis.
You used to say nice things about me years ago.
Let's hear comments from the board. Anyone?
She was great. Yeah, he's great. That was awesome. And I totally agree. I think we're all trying to accomplish the same thing here, which is make tourism better during Christmas, during year-round. I think Ozark Mountain Christmas is awesome. I've always loved Ozark Mountain Christmas, and I don't think that's a bad idea, having that as the prominent thing and the Christmas trees under it and anything else that's going to make draw attention to our town during Ozark Mountain Christmas. I will say, and I've said this before, that the chamber, I've seen a big difference in the last year, 18 months. I've said it up here many times, and them rebuilding relationships with the theaters. I mean, I think, again, I sound like a broken record, but I think there were a lot of theaters displeased with what had been happening over the years, but in the last year and a half, I see them reaching out and asking questions and what can we do for you and this and that. So again, I don't think there's any reason to fight. I think it's time to pull together and make things. And I don't know that it really matters at this point, you know, what did or wasn't or isn't or ain't or whatever. I mean, it's today, let's move forward. And if Ozark Mountain Christmas is on the front and the Christmas Tree City's under it, then that's great. I do love, I think Ozark Mountain Christmas is awesome. And, but Ozark Mountain Christmas featuring Christmas tree or whatever, I mean, we're all trying to accomplish the same thing. And I wrote some notes here. Hang on. I don't need those, Bill. I mean, I think, you know what, that tree that Craig Westcott has at the track is the coolest tree I've ever, the one with all the tires. Yeah. That's pretty clever. Every time I drive, I'm like, that's a cool tree right there. But no, I mean, I don't really, again, I just think we're trying to accomplish the same thing, and I love Ozark Mountain Christmas, and I would love to see that be the prominent stamp. And if Christmas Tree City is alongside it, I don't think that's going to hurt nothing either. Again, they're all good ideas. Let's lead with what we think is going to be the best result and tag whatever thing else you want to it, you know. That's all I got, Mayor. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you.
Ruth.
Alderman
Thank
Denham?
you. Yes. I agree. I think there's been many great marketing ideas and suggestions made tonight. I'm not a marketer. My passion's local government and representing the citizens, the locals of Branson. So when I have been contacted quite a bit about tonight, and the support has been for the main celebration to be the Ozark Mountain Christmas. The locals do matter in this area, and I listen to them. There are business owners. They know what makes their business work. They know what type of marketing they want, and many times it's word of mouth. And Ozark Mountain Christmas has been around for quite a while, and it's a tradition that they're proud to talk about. Our locals shop here, they get entertained here, and they value the synergy that takes place when they are celebrating the birth of Christ, falling under the umbrella of the Ozark Mountain Christmas. I'm sorry, I keep saying that, because I'm a Christian, I guess, because it comes out. So I said I would voice their comments tonight, and every single one of them was to keep this as the main event, the Ozark Mountain Christmas.
Alderman Fenner?
Thank you. Well, I think we've been on this topic for almost 2 hours now.
Hurry up.
So I get at least 3 hours to talk by rule. No, the last speaker, Marla, I think.
Marlis.
I'm sorry? Marlis. Thank you so much for your words. I think you pretty much summed up what I've been sitting here thinking the whole night. Instead of attacking the chamber or saying something's not being done correctly, you know, in 2 hours, the only thing I didn't hear consistently that I didn't hear was that Christmas tourism is down or that our Christmas season is hurting. I never heard it once. Maybe I missed it, but I never heard it once. And so, you know, I was looking through the chamber website throughout the presentations. I get what everybody's saying, I hear it, but I think you said it so eloquently. You know, this season's about more than Christmas trees and shows and shopping and everything. And so if, you know, the chamber through its efforts and its resources finds a different way to look at this, let's explore that. Because again, I haven't heard anybody say Christmas tourism is down. We're hurting in Christmas season. We gotta relook at this because the Christmas season is destroyed. I didn't hear it. So if I missed it, or if somebody wants to, you know, speak to that, feel free. But I didn't hear it once tonight, and so I think Clay said it best. You know, we look to old slides of the chamber website, explore Branson.com. But that doesn't acknowledge the fact that we do have a new chamber president who's come in, who's made that effort, who's trying to do things maybe differently than how they've been done in the past. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's let them do what they do and utilize their expertise to market our area. And I just appreciate you being the one to close it out. So thank you.
Hey, Mayor, can I add one quick thing real quick?
You've had your turn. Okay.
No, I had this in my note and I forgot, but the Christmas special that that was awesome. Oh, it's one of the best representations of the shows that I've been here 35 years and it was top notch.
You're only 36 years old. What are you talking about?
Thank you, Bill. But no, that was a big lick for our town and our shows, and I appreciate that, and the effort and the professionalism of it was just spectacular. So thank you for that. Sorry, Jamie.
That's all right.
Thank you, Mary, for that.
Thank you, everyone, for tonight. Marlis, the way you ended was great. That was just a great way to finalize this. But the one thing I want to say is we've got to look forward. We can't go backward. We've got to look forward. So right now, I don't know about the show things, but for retail, we're looking for employees and we're looking for inventory.
Amen.
So there's a lot of other hurdles in this right now. I'll end with that.
Alderman C.
Well, when you go last, it's all been said. So, and I don't think the third row's glaring at me as much anymore. I think they're... So, and I don't think it's been mentioned, but I think the umbrella of Ozark Mountain Christmas, but that would be the cherry on top if we started using that again.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the parameters, I got this, copyright stuff, but I think that's as important as anything. And even using the font style throughout some of the advertising. And I like the ACTC logo, because it has the basic Branson logo. So, keep that and, drive-through light displays, everything under that umbrella, but I think that logo is important.
Is there any alderman that haven't had an opportunity to speak yet?
Mr. Mayor.
Hearing none?
This is one of the few times you're not going to hear me say anything, but again, thank you, Marlis, because of your heart, and you said it all. We all worked real hard for years on Ozark Mountain Christmas. I was one of those, and my brother-in-law, John Morley, and Peter Engler that helped start this with the folks at Silver Dollar City, and Deborah Robinson at the Grand Country, and Mountain Man Fruit and Nut. We were the only places open in town, guys. And we did that as an effort to try to force this town to be open. We were tired of being defined by the time school went out until school went back in. And there were people in this town, the domestic violence, there's more behind this than just Ozark Mountain Christmas. There was a lot of incidences of domestic violence. And you had Mrs. Cantwell and Mrs. Justice and my mother-in-law, and there were others that worked out there to try to bring year-round employment, to take the pressure off the family. The Christian Action Ministries. I could keep going on down the line. There's a lot of roads that led to this. And Marlis, thank you for bringing it back to Center Point, and Clay, you too.
I'm just going to wrap up by saying that I wanted to highly compliment every one of you and our board for having a healthy discussion on a topic that is near and dear to our hearts. And clearly, we all want the same thing. Clearly, we can get arm in arm and work together and make this Christmas season that we're in right now the best it can be. And I just appreciate everybody's input and civility in this. Jason, I respect you so much for what you're doing. Rachel, same. Mary, ditto with what Alderman Skane said about that video, or that TV spot. It's classic. Michael, thank you for raising the awareness of a lot of the things that you've discovered and pointed out. I think with everybody's 2 cents, is that a saying? With everybody's 2 cents, we'll make a nickel. Oh. So with that being said, Jason. You want to go with Mike? Hurry, because we want to take a break. Oh, don't want to make Lynn mad.
Sorry. Okay, so I apologize, everybody. It is still about Christmas. So we were just informed that so there will be a show called Small Town Christmas, Branson, Missouri. The series will premiere Sunday, December 5th at 9 p.m. It's hosted and executive produced by the Inside Edition's national correspondent and best-selling author, Megan Alexander. Each episode takes viewers to a different small town around the country through food, drink, music, entertainment, and faith. We will highlight local businesses and towns that are making Christmas special in their own unique way. The crew will be here next month to start filming for that show, and then it will be broadcast on Up TV, which has 70 million viewers.
Wow.
So
That's exciting.
I don't know how I missed that, but I apologize. I wanted to make sure I shared that tonight. Sorry. Okay, I'm done. We can move on to the next agenda item.
Jason, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to call a 10-minute recess.
I'm gonna block you.
Order in the court.
We all here? I'm going to call this meeting back to order. Madam Clerk, the next item, please.
Your Honor, the next item is a public hearing and first reading of Bill Number 6053, an ordinance amending Appendix A of the Branson Municipal Code pertaining to utilities fee schedule.
We will now open up this public hearing and begin with a staff report from Kendall Powell.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. It's hard to follow all the excitement over Christmas trees when you're the guy that gets excited over producing water and collecting everybody's sewer.
Yeah. You're the man, Kendall.
All right, so here we are again. It's this time of year that we present to you our plan for next year. So Utilities has incorporated the 2022 projected revenues and expenses into our department's water and sewer rate models. Rate adjustments are recommended for the fiscal year 2022 to maintain adequate revenue to fund operations and maintenance of the city's water treatment systems, wastewater treatment systems, water distribution systems, and sewer collection systems. Our annual operating expenses such as payroll, electricity, goods and services, and small capital such as scheduled rebuild and replacements of process equipment, sewer and water system maintenance equipment, including water meter replacements, rolling stock, vehicles, and trucks, are funded by rates. Large capital items for infrastructure improvements requested by utilities for 2022 will be funded through the city's tourism tax. For the fiscal year 2022, staff recommends a 2% water rate adjustment and a 7% sewer rate adjustment. These recommendations will sustainably fund operations of the utilities and maintain adequate operating reserves. So in the staff report, we've included previous presented material that was presented in the September 30th special budget meeting, which is the city-to-city comparisons, which we went through and compared 84 cities with our rates. And then also the year-to-year billing comparisons, which shows the cost increase based off of a gallons per year or gallons per month, and then also our presentation that we presented in the September 30th meeting. So if approved, the proposed water and sewer rate adjustments outlined in the attached ordinance will become effective upon the first billing period of January 22. I did provide the presentation from the September 30th meeting if you want to go through it again, but I know you guys have already seen it. So I'll leave that open to your guys' suggestion there. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
I will now take public comments. Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor or of opposing this matter? Anybody interested, come to the mic. Please don't rush and knock each other down. Be orderly. Hearing no discussion from the audience, any comments?
Mayor?
Yes.
So on the 2% and the 7%, I know that's just conservative, but where should we be on those raises to balance or?
So
percentage-wise?
Percentage-wise, so what we do with that rate model is we plug in our capital expenses throughout a 20-year period, and so what we try to do is to balance it out to where we don't get such huge hits on a particular year. So it spreads the load basically on the rates. So what we get is there's kind of an ups and downs on where it dips into our cash reserves and then comes back out, depending upon the capital requested for that year. Our operations budget stays pretty consistent. We do grow annually with that because cost increased, as everybody's seeing. There's cost of goods or services is going up, so We plan for that on a 2% increase from year to year. So I think with the 2% and the 7%, it gets us where we need to be at for 2022. Again, next year, we come back, we reassess it and confirm with the model. So we've already figured rates for the next several years. But again, those change as we get up-to-date information, as our revenue projections come in, and we refine those from year-to-year basis. And so I think the 2% and the 7% would be the most accurate for us.
Gotcha. So good year, bad year, whatever, you're where you feel we should be doing it smaller increments, even if we have to do it every year.
Yes.
Instead of just, because I think at one time it was like 14% on sewer.
Yes.
Where
So,
it needed to be.
yeah, if we chose the route of going to a larger increment at a one-time rate, it throws the revenue off to where you'll start seeing a lot larger revenues, cash flows coming in that we don't have projected to use. So it's better to do it in smaller increments, so it's not such a huge hit on customers.
Gotcha. Thank you, Kendall.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Does the expansion of Branson water and sewer to new customers have a chilling effect on the increase of rates in water and sewer, adding more people on, provide more of it? That's not the word I'm trying to get to is, does it retard the ability of the city to raise those rates when these new customers come on? Is that a chilling effect?
Make sure I'm following you correctly. As far as if we expand and new customers come on board, what's that do to the rates? Is that, these rates?
Does it have a chance to sort of tamp that
so
potential for increase?
So there is a minimal operating cost, right? That at a certain point, as people use more water, so if a residential customer typically uses 2,500 gallons a month, and say they start using 5,000 gallons a month, and you have several of those customers do that, there is a side cost of that's going to be increased cost in operations for the treatment of it and everything. I haven't identified that fine line of where you ride that production versus water sold and where you come out, I don't want to say ahead, but you start producing more revenue and your expenses, stays at a relatively flat rate. That's something that we're going to explore in the future here and see what that dividing line is. So our base rate covers for bare, minimum operations. So that's your steady income, right? So everybody's charged a base rate on an annual basis, whether they use zero water or up to 2,000 gallons. And so anything over that 2,000 gallons, then they're charged additional amount per 1,000 gallons. So that base rate, you want to set that base rate where you're covering your minimum cost and keeping things running and flowing. So that's that guaranteed income that you have coming in.
The reason I ask, if you have customers that drop off, you still have your cost.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about the chemicals going from 100,000 to
Yes.
300,000. As you add more customers on, let's say that you brought in an area half the size of Campwell Edition, and they're new customers, they're buying meters, they're connecting, they have a water and sewer cost. Does it have an effect of tamping down the potential for higher increases, or is it just not moderated at all?
I think that would help the most is, the commercial side as they use more water over that typical amount. I think you'll see some more revenues come in at that point to help cover those costs. So
that's what I was after. Thank you, bud.
Alderman Denham?
Kendall, I just want to thank you for all the work that you have put into your presentations, and I know that you've been carrying a heavy load. You're doing an amazing job. I want to thank you for that. I know that there's just been increases everywhere, the cost of materials, the cost of everything, so I do know that we do need to increase on our end too to keep up with everything. But on the flip side, I just hope we're real mindful on any fees that are waived, that we're not increasing fees, but then waiving them. So
Certainly.
thank you so much.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Any other aldermen? Ken, I'll have a few questions. On the Water District number 3, they serve water, my understanding is they serve water starting at the north end of Branson city limits down to roughly Highway 248.
Correct, yeah. So basically, our dividing line would be Roar Creek itself.
Rock Creek, okay. And so city provides a sewer.
Yes.
And we charge the customer sewer.
Yes.
And Water District picks up the water rates.
Yes. When
The customers that are being served by Water District number 3, when they don't pay their sewer fees, do I have it correct? We have not been able to go back and collect those fees, or we haven't been able to enforce it?
It does create a challenge for us. I know our finance department does a good job at trying to collect those fees, but where the enforcement comes in is when we have the ability to shut their meter off. Currently, we don't have an agreement with Public Water District 3 to establish how that is to be accomplished. We've actually worked through the process. We've got a draft prepared, and we're still working through that. I actually did talk to Ed Young this week and to touch base with him, and he's still on board with pursuing that agreement between the city and the district itself.
So when that contract is finally agreed upon, will we be receiving additional fees from sewer, having the ability to turn off the service?
Well, we'll be able to capture sewer billings that we haven't been able to capture in the past. So it smooths out the revenues from year to year then, to where you don't have such high penalties and fees showing up on our revenue sources. It also creates basically creates a consistency there in that revenue source, because once people figure out that their water's going to be shut off, then they start, generally, it'll weed out the majority of folks and they'll start paying their bill. There's always a set few that will hold out. But.
So once that gets in place, the city will receive more money than we've been receiving?
Correct, yes. Yeah, we'll be able to collect those sewer bills. I can't tell you exactly how much more it will be, but we'll collect those sewer bills.
Yeah, I'm curious what that amount is. Because I know when we look at our budget, everything, in my opinion, everything's on the table. And so I know tonight we're talking about raising water and sewer rates for our residents and businesses. When I talked to Water District number 3, they have a draft contract that's dated back in April that they sent over, and I'm told that the ball's been in our court now for 6 months, and we haven't acted on that contract. Do you know what's holding up that contract?
So at this point in time, as part of that contract, it requires us, and Chris can speak to this if you so will, but part of that contract requires us to notify delinquent customers by certified mail. And so we're working through that process of how we implement that into our code to recoup that cost. So that'll be an additional cost of going through that mailing type system and how to recoup that back from the delinquent customers. For example, right now what we use is what's called a blue note, to where it's our second notice after the mailing goes out that says, hey, you're late on your bill. And when it comes to a certain time of the month, we hand deliver blue notes door to door to those customers. That's a $13 fee that we charge those delinquent customers. And then if they don't pay their bill, then we go back and go to shut their water off. Then they get charged another $13 for a shut off, and then get charged another $13 to be turned back on. So instead of that second blue note, we discussed going to a certified notification across the board between the city and Water District 3 to make it consistent. I need to also have conversations with Missouri American, and because we have an existing agreement with them as well. So there's a process in that agreement that we have to follow for shutoffs as well. So we're trying to make it all consistent across the board as well for our finance department, so they're not doing one thing for Missouri American, one thing for city customers, and one thing for District 3.
Okay, because I know when we, one of the biggest factors in our budgeting process is when we make our projections. And so, I mean, I'm constantly looking for ways for us to be more prudent with our dollars. And if we're missing an opportunity to be collecting fees, and I know it's been 6 months, I would think that if that agreement was done, then a couple things would happen. We would have been able to start collecting some of those fees, and we would have more accurate information for Jamie to make more accurate projections, right?
Yes, sir.
Is there a reason why we would put off that contract until after our budgeting process?
I don't have a particular reason other than as part of that process is we're working on refining of what that certified fee amount is going to be, and how we recoup that back in to the billing process. So I know Jamie was working through that side of things. We had, like I said, we had our Blue Note meeting to discuss the removal of the second Blue Note and switching to certified itself. And again, that's budgeting and all that started taking place. It just got sideburned until we got through this process. But I see what you're saying is it definitely, anytime we can make a consistent revenue source come out, on the sewer side, just like we have on the water, it'll definitely help us in the long run.
Yeah, and here again at 10,000 feet, if we can collect more revenues than we're collecting today, then when we have discussions like this about, well, we need to raise water and sewer rates for everybody, and here again, I have no idea what the numbers are, but if we were collecting what we already could be or should be collecting, maybe wouldn't have to be raising the rates or the percentages as high.
My opinion is I think we still have to raise the sewer rates to the 7%. I'm actually part of that plan, as part of the model, on our sewer capital is supplementing our sewer capital with some existing reserves that we already have. So to make up the difference. So the 7% could actually be larger, but I'm trying to utilize monies that we already have in the bank to make that difference up so it's not such an impact on.
And I appreciate you doing that. Any other Alderman have any questions?
So how late does the customer need to be before you start sending out notices, and how many notices are there before the shut-off comes?
So generally, when we actually go to turn the meter off, they're already 2 months behind.
So at 2 months, y'all send out notice one?
We send out another mailing notice.
So the first thing's a mailing.
Yep.
Then
we do a blue note. Yep. And then it's the shut off.
So so the blue note costs $13. Mm-hmm. What's a certified letter cost if you went that route?
That's something we have to decide of. There's different types, levels of certified letters, so we've got to work through that process to see which one's going to be adequate, which maybe Chris can help with that.
Is the reason for that because one's cheaper than the other? Or?
Well, let me chime in real quick and kind of level set this. Right now, our disconnect agreements are with private entities. Those rules are different than dealing with another political subdivision. Public Water Sewer District 3 is another governmental entity. So the process for shutoffs, the process for addressing delinquent accounts is set by statute. It's a little bit different process because up until this point, we've only been dealing with private water company, private sewer company. So what's Kendall's kind of alluding to is we have to basically change our entire process because right now we're doing it this way, and then we're going to be asking our finance department to also do this way. this way has a significant cost differential than this way. Okay, I don't know, I don't have the specific figures in front of
Right.
me. The agreement's done. The issue that we're facing, that we're working through right now is the logistics of putting it into play. So that number one, the city's not taking on an additional cost. The cost for going after these delinquent accounts makes sense, with also not having to run a different process over here for American Water that we're not running for over here for Public Water Sewer District. So at some point, we're going to get this fleshed out. We will get this before you. But to answer the mayor's question succinctly, the agreement's done. It's just a internal process thing we're working through right now.
Any other questions from the board?
I was only hearing, Mr. Mayor, that the intent, I think that I heard out of you and others, is let's try to get this thing done as soon as possible.
Is that what I said?
I think so.
Any other comments from the board? This public hearing is now closed.
The floor is open for a motion to approve the first reading of Bill number 6053.
We have a motion and a second. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak regarding this matter?
Mr. Mayor?
Oh.
I appreciate them if there's nobody coming up.
Nope.
There will need to be a slight amendment, I have been told, regarding the actual date. And the clerk has been working on it while you all have been discussing it. And I will also tell you that at 2 o'clock this afternoon, Mr. Kendall and I had a meeting along with Assistant City Manager Manning, and the words that just came from your mouth came from my mouth and said, "Get this done."
Wow, thank you. Great minds think alike.
See, I got close.
So do crazy people.
That's correct. I'm going with option B.
Yeah.
So before we vote, Madam Clerk, do we need to have different language?
Yes, I just caught as Kendall was talking. This ordinance needs to be effective January 1st. It's got an immediate effective date. If you'll go to section 3, becomes effective immediately upon passage. I think we need to put a January 1st, 2022 date on that, effective date. So if I could help with that motion, I've got one written out, if that would help. So section 3 would be, this ordinance shall be effective January 1st, 2022, after its passage by the Board of Aldermen and approval by the mayor. So it's amended motion.
You'll need a board member to say what you just
Somebody
said.
wants to,
I will, what she said.
Do I hear a second to what she just said?
Second. Second.
I have a motion and a second to what she just said. Let's vote.
that carried 6-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kendall.
So if I will close that, and now we will reopen the motion on the floor, and it'll be to approve it as amended, whenever you're ready to vote. Ready to vote?
Yes. We have a motion and a second. Let's vote.
And they did, they're quick.
Holy, look at, now I think they're getting a head start.
That passed 6-0, so that has been amended to start January 1st.
Mighty fine.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the next item is the first reading of Bill number 6054, an ordinance approving the renewal of the contract with Radio Phone Engineering Incorporated for communication services and repairs, and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. The floor is open for a motion to approve the first reading of Bill number 6054.
We have a motion and a second, and we'll now have a staff report from Chief Jeff Matthews.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, I actually have the next two items on the agenda. The first one is a renewal for a contract with Radiophone to take care of all of our communication repairs and needs. In 2018, we sent out a request for bid. Radiophone was approved on that contract, and this is the third renewal of that contract, and the estimate is not to exceed $20,000. We request approval.
Any comments from anybody in the audience? Any comments from members of the board? Hearing none, let's vote.
That motion passed 6-0.
We're getting good.
Your Honor, the next, I'm not clear. Your Honor, the next item is the first reading of Bill Number 6055, an ordinance approving the renewal of the contract with En Route Enterprises LLC for public safety emergency equipment installation and repair services and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. The floor is open for a motion to approve the first reading of Bill Number 6055.
We have a motion and a second. And I'll get a staff report from the same Chief Jeff Matthews.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this contract was again requested for bid in 2018. En Route was approved for the contract. This is the third renewal of this contract. En Route does all of the installation of all the equipment in our patrol cars and then demobilization after the 3-year cycle of those. And this contract is also not to exceed $20,000, and we request approval.
Anybody in the audience wishing to speak to this matter? Any members of the board?
Just for clarification, I take it you're happy with the contract, Chief?
Yes, sir, with both of these.
Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, let's vote.
That carried 6-0. Your Honor, the next item is first reading Bill Number 6056, an ordinance approving the renewal of the contract with John Moore's Equipment and Supply Company for furnishing and maintaining coin-operated laundry equipment in the city RV park and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. The floor is open for a motion to approve the first reading of Bill Number 6056.
We have a motion and a second, and we'll now have a staff report from Cindy Shook.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the board, so this is an annual review and approval of our contract with John Morris Equipment, and they supply washers and dryers for the campground. There's, I think, 5 commercial washers and dryers, and this is the second renewal of this contract, and they've agreed to hold the same pricing, so we receive a 56% commission. So kind of the same as last year. They've done a great job, and staff recommends approval of the contract. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from members of the audience? Any questions, members of the board?
Yes, sir. Are those 5 washers and 5 dryers, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's
With
correct.
the increased demand on that place that you've had, is that enough going forward?
Yeah, it's all that will fit. So I don't think there's any more room. So, but we do.
Stand for bigger building?
Yeah, absolutely, sure. He's shaking his head. I think that's a no. But we are anticipating about 9,500. So we did see a decline a little bit last year during, just a little bit during COVID, but it's a great amenity for the campground.
So you're satisfied with the 10 units? You don't need any more? You don't need to change them out? Are they leased out?
Yes, they're leased, and so they do, Alderman's canes, they change them out every so often, and they update them. So that's one of the great things about leasing rather than, us doing that.
Thank you.
Is the city strictly a commission, you said, a 56%?
Sure.
So what does that bring in a year?
About $9,500 is what we're anticipating, so, it's a great amenity, additional revenue.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, let's vote.
That carried 6-0. Your Honor, the next item is first reading Bill number 6057, an ordinance approving the renewal of the contract with Pro Lawn and Landscape for tree trimming and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. The floor is open for a motion to approve the first reading of Bill number 6057.
We have a motion and a second, and we'll have a staff report from Cindy.
Yeah, so I've been saving it all up for this meeting. I think I've got like 6 items. And so this next one, this is just another annual contract that we do. This is for the city's mowing. And it is for the, I think, 46 different locations of mowing around the city. And so this is the second renewal, I think. Lost my place here. Yeah. No, this is the first renewal of a 4-year contract with Pro Lawn. And they've agreed to hold their pricing for 2020 from 2021 this year for next year, which is awesome. And it is for an amount not to exceed $32,000. And staff recommends approval of the contract. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from members of the audience? Any questions, comments from the board?
Mayor, Cindy, can you explain the 4-year contract and why it has to be renewed every year?
Yeah, just because of the amount, because I think it's for $32,000, but, you know, after you have the base year, if they're, just like Jeff's contract that he just did, if they're willing to hold their pricing, then you're able to continue to renew it. So that is just a really good feature that they've done a great job. And so, yeah, on the tree trimming, I'm sorry, not the mowing, the tree trimming. Pro Lawn used to be our mower, so I'm getting it confused, but yeah, they, have done a great job, and so if they hold their pricing, we don't have to bid it out again.
Gotcha. So they have the gig for 4 years as long as they hold the price.
That's correct, and as long as we want them to come back and they've done a good job.
Yeah, Alderman,
Gotcha.
Because of, I think because of the I forgot the word, the allocation of our budget, we have to approve it every year. 'Cause
Right, if
only
it's over
approved
15,000, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking for the mechanism where they weren't doing it anymore because someone came in, they didn't want to change their prices, or someone came in and beat their prices. I mean,
That hasn't happened a lot in my experience, but it is something.
well, a lot of these, we don't
right.
have multiple people to bid, so.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in my experience, having someone that can continue and hold their pricing has been a really positive thing for us once you establish a relationship and you kind of work with them, so.
It's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, especially right now to hold the pricing, that's pretty good.
It is.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, let's vote. Yeah.
That motion carried 6-0. Your Honor, the next item is the first reading Bill number 6058, an ordinance approving the renewal of the contract with WCA Waste Corporation for trash removal and disposal services and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. The floor is open for a motion to approve the first reading of Bill number 6050A.
We have a motion and a second, and Cindy, I knew what you just said because I looked, and I think you do have the next 4 or 5 items. So.
Do, and so
can
I
you
was.
share?
Sure. We actually missed the meeting last time, so we got some rolled over. So this is another annual contract, so this is just the same kind of thing that we just talked about that we bring to you. It's for the city's contract with WCA Waste Corporation for the purpose of providing contracted trash removal and disposal services for various city locations. I think if you see in the contract, there's quite a few, 19 different locations. And this is the second renewal of a 4-year contract with WCA, who is, comes to the board for approval, and they've agreed to hold their pricing for 2021. Staff recommends approval of the contract for fiscal year 2022 in the amount not to exceed $26,554, and that's based on past usage and funds are budgeted in the different department budgets for the different locations. So staff recommends approval of the bill. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from members of the audience? Any questions from the board? Hearing none, let's vote.
That motion passed 6-0. Your Honor, the next item is the first reading of Bill Number 6059, an ordinance approving the renewal of the contract with Snell Grove Outdoor Services LLC for mowing and weed eating and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. The floor is open for a motion to approve the first reading of Bill Number 6059.
We have a motion and a second, and we'll get a staff report from Cindy Shook.
So this is the mowing one. I got confused with the last one. Pro Lawn is the tree trimming, and they used to be our mowing. So this is a annual review and approval of the city's contract with Snell Grove Outdoor Services for mowing, and that's the 46 different locations in the city of Branson. So this is their first renewal of a 4-year contract with Snell Grove to be approved annually, and they've also agreed to hold their pricing, which is also awesome. And this is for fiscal year 2022, and it's for amount not to exceed $77,400. I cannot read I should have brought my glasses. I think it says $940. And that's based on anticipated usage, and it can be adjusted or lowered to save money if it rains more or rains less and you need more mowing. It's meant to be biannually. Staff recommends approval of the bill. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, members of the audience? Any questions, members of the board? Cindy, I have a question. So
Sure.
Pro Lawn used to do the lawn maintenance.
That's right.
And I'm assuming their contract expired, we went out to bid, and Snell Grove,
That's correct.
so we got a better price from
We got a
Snell
better
Grove.
price from Snell Grove, and this is the first renewal of a 4-year agreement.
Is it 77,000 for the year?
Yes, 77,400. Sorry, I really can't. I should have brought my glasses. I think $940 for the year. So that's for the 46 different locations.
That's a lot of grass.
Well, it is, again, a biannual contract, so we can, it's meant to save some money by doing it that way, but we found that it rained a little bit more this year, and so if you all remember, it rained a lot in the spring and summer, and so we had to add a few more mowings, so it does give us a little cushion if that happens again.
Very nice. Any other questions? Hearing none, let's vote.
That motion passed 6-0. Your Honor, the next item is the first reading Bill Number 6060, an ordinance approving the renewal of the contract with PepsiCo for merchandise for resale and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. The floor is open for a motion to approve the first reading of Bill Number 6060.
We have a motion and a second, and a staff report from Cindy.
So this is the annual review and approval of the city's contract with PepsiCo for the purchase of providing soda and water for resale at the Branson Recplex concessions. This is the second renewal of a 5-year agreement with PepsiCo. This one is different than the others because it does allow up to a 4% increase, which is a standard type of thing in soda contracts. And we feel it continues to be a very profitable thing for us, despite those who prefer Coke. And looking at our city administrator, he's not happy with me about this. So the contract also includes a rebate price for a total up to $4 a case for rebates. So staff recommends the contract for fiscal year 2022 in the amount not to exceed $30,000. Staff recommends approval of the bill. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from members in the audience? Any questions, members of the board?
Yes, sir. Just go ahead.
Yep.
Oh, you're fine.
The issue, we spend 30,000, how much do we make?
Well, this year, we haven't spent up to the $30,000. This year, in 2021, we spent $18,633.12 and made $46,582.80.
Very good return.
Let's pass this thing.
Yeah.
Are there fountains over there, or is it all bottles?
It's all bottles, and, fountain would be a higher markup, but that's the direction we have.
That's a good deal there.
That's a good deal, though.
Clay Cooper Theater calls PepsiCo tomorrow.
Yeah. I have Coca-Cola, but I'm thinking.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, let's vote.
That motion passed 6-0. Your Honor, the next item is the first reading of Bill Number 6061, an ordinance amending Chapter 62 of the Branson Municipal Code pertaining to parks, recreation, and other city facilities. The floor is open for a motion to approve the first reading of Bill Number 6061.
We have a motion and a second, and this is the last act for Cindy Shook.
It's the last act, and this is not an annual bid award. This one's different. So this staff was asked to complete a review of the ordinance pertaining to Branson Municipal Code, Chapter 62, Parks, Recreation, and Other Facilities, with a goal to reduce or update sections as necessary. As part of the review, edits are being recommended in 2 sections. In Section 62-1, definitions, the locations of the city campground and North Beach Park are being updated. I think those were pre-COVID is what it is. And so Curtis Copeland gave us updates on the language there. And in Section 62-73, animals in parks, edits are being recommended to align with code revisions and basically update the exceptions for animals in parks. So I think you guys have a copy of that. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Do we have any questions from anybody in the audience? Any questions from members of the board? Hearing none, let's vote.
That motion carries 6-0.
Cindy exits stage left.
Your Honor, the next item is the first reading of Bill Number 6062, an ordinance approving the addendum with Table Rock Asphalt Construction Company Incorporated for the purchase of concrete supplies and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. The floor is open for a motion to approve the first reading of Bill Number 6062.
We have a motion and a second, and a staff report from Keith Francis.
Mayor, members of the board, good evening. This contract is for some additional concrete for our campground. Contract was approved with Table Rock Asphalt Construction through City Council on October 27th, 2020 for the purchase of concrete supplies, not to exceed amount of $25,000 for fiscal year 2021. Parks Department submitted a capital project through priority-based budgeting for the campground site improvements at Lakeside RV Park that will use the existing concrete specs with our existing contract for additional amount of $26,500. Table Rock Asphalt Construction has agreed to supply the contract for this project through use of a contract amendment to their existing contract. The project consists of upgrading approximately 15 sites located along the back row from the gravel to concrete to allow for appearance and usability of the sites. Sites will also be used for double sites on some occasions to allow for versatility, which could result in an increase in occupancy while allowing a premium fee to be charged for the additional features. The amendment will increase the contract with Table Rock Asphalt, Inc. to not exceed amount of $51,500. Staff recommends approval and be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Keith. Any questions from members of the audience? Any questions from members of the board? Hearing none, let's vote.
That motion carries 6-0. Your Honor, the next item is the first reading of Bill Number 6063, an ordinance accepting the proposal of Snell Grove Outdoor Services LC for mowing and weed eating services and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Floor is open for a motion to approve the first reading of Bill Number 6063.
We have a motion and a second. Staff report from Keith.
Mayor, members of the board, excuse me. 3 qualified bids were received on September 10th, 2021 for mowing and weed eating services through request for bids 2616-10. The bids included multiple mowing locations within the city's right-of-way and costs for any code enforcement abatement mowing on an as-needed basis. The bid estimate for biweekly cuttings to finish out the 2021 year mowing season and 18 to 20 biweekly cuttings for the 2022 mowing season. The term of the contract shall be from the effective date of the city's notice to proceed through December 31, 2022, with an option to renew up to 3 additional successive one-year contracts. Funds are in the transportation operating budget to cover the cost for the remaining fiscal year, and $125,000 is projected in the transportation operating budget for fiscal year 2022. Staff recommends approval, and we're glad to answer any questions.
Any questions, members of the audience? Any questions, members of the board?
What was the figure again?
For the total,
125, yeah.
125,000 for next year. That's what we had in the budget for next year. And depending on how cold it gets and how much mowing, we're estimating approximately 3, maybe 4 more mowings this year.
Than
Yeah.
normal?
We have that in our budget already for this year.
And Keith, that's mowing right-of-ways?
Yes, sir.
And the funds are coming out of transportation?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Any other questions?
And Keith, this is what we were talking about a while back about Public Works employees doing this and.
That's correct, yeah.
COVID year, and let's go back to third party.
It's so difficult to get seasonal people right now, and probably next year also, so this will put all my full-time people back on the street crew and get a lot more work done on our street maintenance, sidewalk work, and things like that.
Is this more, what's the word? Price, I mean, compared to the way before the third party, what is the price difference? I mean, cost difference?
We had about approximately 70,000 in the budget for 6 seasonal employees. And sometimes we would get 2, maybe 3, and end up at the end of the season with 1 or 2. And then we ended up pulling our full-time guys back onto the mowing crew to keep it looking nice around here. And
yeah.
So this is a much better way to go. And
so it's a little more, but it's more dependable, and
right.
Other people are doing the jobs they need to be doing. And
exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and I support that.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. Keep things more manicured looking and
well, that's important.
more presentable.
Would you like to keep chit-chatting, or would you like to vote?
No, I was just, you look good. You look good in lilac too, Keith.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. Christmas color, a little bit, maybe
Ozark
Easter.
Mountain Christmas.
There
Y'all
you
just
go.
let me know when you're done.
I'm done, Mayor.
Stick a fork in him, Coach.
Okay, as long as you're done, let's vote.
Well, Brian's back up, huh?
Yeah.
Your Honor, that carries 6-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith.
Your Honor, the next item is appointments. The appointment process is in accordance with the Board and Committee Appointments Procedure for Category 4, which are appointments made by the mayor but not approved by the Board of Aldermen. Mayor, will you please announce your appointment for the Housing Authority?
The appointment for the Branson Housing Authority Board with a term expiring October 2025 is Dr. Brian Klontz.
Good man.
Great man.
And he'd been serving already and agreed to continue.
Yes, and I'd like to publicly thank Brian for continuing to serve.
Your Honor, the next item is appointments. Appointment process in accordance with the Board and Committee Appointments Procedure for Category 5, appointments made by the mayor with approval by the Board of Aldermen. The board will be voting on the appointments. Mayor, please announce your appointment to be voted on.
The appointment for the Ozarks Area Community Action Corporation, OCAC, Board with a term expiring September 2023 is Cindy Shook, and I appreciate her for accepting a renewal of this.
The floor is open for a motion to approve the appointment Category 5.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Let's vote.
That motion carried 6-0.
Boy, some agenda items take hours and others take minutes. We are completed with our agenda items, and we're down to our Alderman reports. Alderman Denham?
Thank you, Mayor. Senator Moon spoke at the last Liberty Lectures. It was put on by Branson U, and he pretty much took us through a day at the Capitol and what he does and how he represents us, and discussed the U.S. Constitution. And also last Tuesday night, I attended the National Night Out. There were 3 locations in Branson Ward 3, and it was nice to get out and visit with everyone and enjoy the support. Thank you, Chief.
Alderman Skanes?
No, sir, no report.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
I can give you one, but you don't want it.
Lisa, would you make sure that's in the minutes? Alderman Cooper?
I have 2 things. Michael London, in his presentation, had asked about a declaration for the Ozark Mountain Christmas, November 1st through January 7th. What is that in? Is that something we could discuss? Or, I mean, making it some kind of official city, hey, November 1st through January 7th is Ozark Mountain Christmas. I mean, Stan, I guess that's a question for you.
You could do it 2 ways. One is through a resolution of the board. The other would be a proclamation by the mayor. It's your choice. I would also, would just throw this out there because I know that you 2 gentlemen might be having a meeting with the state representative, that there can be a state, he could take that to the floor and get that done on the state level.
That's a great idea.
But I would recommend the resolution personally.
What if we did all 3? Why are you laughing? I don't ask for much.
I mean, I think it was a great suggestion he had, and if we could make something official like that happen, it'd be fantastic for us. So I guess we'll mention that. Oh,
We can whip that up for October 26th.
that'd be fantastic.
That'd be great.
Thank you. And also, I don't know if this is a place that, I know everybody's got a work shortage right now. My son is vice president of the National Honor Society in Branson, and they're looking for community service
take 'em.
opportunities.
Oh.
But so if we know anybody out there or businesses that are looking for some young men and women to do some work for them for free for the experience. Oh, look at Cindy, look at there. I mean, they're willing to do, whatever. I mean, I guess it's like an internship or something or whatever, but, I'd say they're open to anything.
Work on a marina?
I'd say they're open to anything. So I guess you could contact me through my city phone and I could get you in touch with the National Honor Society or whoever. But he said, Dad, please mention that because we need these hours for their service. So anyhow, that's out there. So let me know.
Excuse me, I'm going to make a call real quick. I get first in line. Alderman, are you?
Yes, Mayor, I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Fenton, any words of wisdom?
I'll be brief. I had the opportunity to attend the National Night Out event last week as well at the Villas at Branson Hills. Great event. Appreciate those folks for being so welcoming to me and my family. My kids were huge fans of the ice cream that was made available and did not let any go to waste. So thank you to those folks for having us out and being so welcoming again to my family. So that's all I got.
Alderman Whitus.
First of all, Keith used to be impressed by Alderman Cooper to call that lilac. I would call it purple, but he must be in a different business, so it's purple. So
I know wardrobe.
Yeah. So, but no, Chief, you and your staff for the National Night Out. There was some great eats in Ward 3 that we traveled to, and but I thought it went very well. And thank you for all the things that you and your staff did with that.
Nothing to report.
Administrator Dobbins?
First off, I apologize for not being at the last meeting. I understand I missed popcorn, and I'm really heartbroken over that. But I would like to let you all know that I along with my Parks Director, Cindy Shook, were in St. Louis receiving an award from the Missouri Municipal League, our Innovation Award. We won it our city size throughout the state of Missouri. We were chosen #1 for our innovations and what we did during COVID to help our community and help our seniors and everyone continue to live as normal a life as we could. And I applaud Cindy and her staff for doing that. That is my report, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor,
Thank you.
I made a mistake. I think that,
Hold it, it's in the minutes. It is in the minutes.
I think we need to offer a debt of gratitude and thanks for Mayor David Tate over in Hollister for as many years as he served the community faithful. Even though we're a little bit in competition with each other, they're still like brothers and sisters to us over there. And I think we need to put a hat off to him. He served well.
Alderman Gaines, you stole my report.
I did
He saw
not
your
read
notes.
that report.
It says right there, Mayor Tate. Okay, my report is going to sound a lot like Alderman Gaines' report. Last Thursday, Hollister Mayor Tate decided to retire. The interim mayor of Hollister will be Lamar Patton until he's an alderman currently, and he'll serve the rest of the term, which is up this election cycle, which is April. Mayor Tate has done an awful lot. I'm told he was the mayor for 22 years, and he served as in the government, alderman, different positions for, I think he served for 34 years. 31? Thank you. Served for 31 years. So anybody that can give that kind of unselfish devotion to his community, it absolutely deserves a hat off. I will echo the appreciation to Chief Matthews for what I think was a very successful National Night Out. I'm not sure I can agree with Alderman C. With the food that they had in Ward 3. I covered some food in Ward 2 that was...
I think those were hot dogs.
No, we're talking jerk chicken.
Oh, well, yeah.
Jerk chicken.
We had homemade cookies that were prepackaged with the ingredients on
That
it. so
will,
you can,
what I learned this year was that will be my first stop next year. Because I showed up there full of hot dogs. That's all I have for report. I wanted to appreciate, again, the great conversations we had tonight. I encourage more public input. I think it's very healthy to get to hear the voice of the community. And with that, are we going into, oh, yeah. So with that, the next item is adjourn into executive session. The floor is open for a motion.
I move to go into closed executive session pursuant to 610.021.1 RSMO for litigation and 610.021.2 RSMO for real estate.
So Jamie made the motion. It's seconded by Alderman C. We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
That motion carries 6-0.
Hate to end on a controversial subject, but the next item is to adjourn. The floor is open to adjourn the Board of Aldermen's meeting. Is that a motion and a second? Please vote.
And we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for